What's up, guys? Metal Jesus here, coming at you from a rainy Friday night in Florida. Yeah, summertime in Florida. Extremely humid heat, and then it rains, causing more humidity. It's awesome. Why wouldn't you want to live in that world? Yep, another Friday night live stream. I was thinking about doing the AVGN episode with Kyle Justin, but since I just made like a whole ass like edited video on that, I figured it would be a little redundant, though maybe towards the end I'll throw that in there. I don't know, but figured we'd tackle more of these video game years videos. Eventually getting to interesting years like, say, 1985, 1986. And I think they stop at 1989, basically before Super Nintendo or anything that any of us might really find more interesting that hasn't been overexplored a million times like the NES has. So, yeah, I'm not going to dilly-dally too much longer here. Let's just get right to it, eh? So, not last week, because I did the EDP thing, because that was, like, new and happening at the time. Apparently, Mike Klum, one of his channels, got shut down already, which is crazy. I guess he had 2 channels. I don't know. But, yeah, that thing came out, so I felt like, all right, well, we need to watch this. And I'm glad, honestly, I'm so glad that that's over with, because I don't want to watch that documentary ever again. Oh yeah, my Primus shirt. Yeah, no, I got this from one of their live shows recently that me and my brother went to. It was pretty awesome, although it was fucking raining, and nothing against my brother, but he buys the cheap seats. He buys the cheap seats, so we ended up getting fucking soaked, which sucked. But yeah. Anyway, let's shift on over here to this shit, I guess.
This could be a lot of fun, like asteroids.
Once again, for anybody who doesn't know, Pat's video game years thing that he did with in conjunction with GameSack and someone else who I'm forgetting. I think it was the guy who got arrested for watching women go wee in the bathroom. Rue, whatever it is, the pepperoni nipples. That's all I remember him as. Basically, they and Pat has even said this. They basically ripped off the I Love the 80s format, that show on VH1, but they just did it with video games. I would argue that this show is much less annoying than I Love the 80s, because they're not trying to be like, they're not trying to have these quick little zingers every single time. So just by virtue of that alone, I think it's better. But yeah, I mean, it's I feel like it's a bunch of tech. We're in 1979 right now, a bunch of tech that they have no experience with. But wait, yeah, I think it's 79. Yeah, it was 77 to 78 last, or 2 weeks ago. So anyway.
That's it. Get him. Get him. Beautiful. Watch it. Disintegrate.
Get your groove on, classic gamers. It's the end of the decade. These are the video game years, and welcome to 1979.
1979 was the year that I graduated from 8th grade. So I'm really that old.
My God, that guy must be like 70 now at this point. I want to say this show went until like 2015. I think that's when it... Jeez, it is fucking pouring outside right now.
As the 70s fizzle, the video gaming world keeps popping. Vectors take gaming in a new direction.
The graphics were really crisp and sharp, and
yeah, that's the guy who videoed women going pee. That's one of the guys who created this show.
I still think they look really good today.
Are you smart enough for intelligent television?
Intelligent television. In television.
Atari brings everyone on an adventure.
You're a man on a mission. Okay, you're a pixel on a mission.
Back when Pat looked semi-normal, my goodness.
Plus, the home computer becomes fun, and the asteroids are out to get you. So, get your disco dancing in now, and save up for some leg warmers. These are the video game years, and this is 1979.
You know what's lame is Pat will never talk about his Pawn Star appearance that he did that one time, where he brought his Nintendo World Championship carts, the gold one and the gray one. Because I remember seeing that on TV, and I don't even think I knew who he was at that point. But he obviously he had no intention of selling them, but Pawn Stars is always looking for rare and unique items. And I guess he wanted his 10 seconds of fame on legacy television. And it's been brought up several times. I guess he's under some kind of NDA or something. But that would have been cool if he could have talked about that whole thing. But if you fucked with Pawn Stars at all, you already kind of know. There have been several people who have made YouTube videos breaking down the fourth wall, how that show worked and how it was all just editing tricks and everything was fake pretty much.
Next level.
We had Antiques Roadshow too.
And we have Adventure.
Uh-oh. First problematic guest of the show, Giorgio. Well, this is back when he was doing his You Can Play This game series. I've talked about this guy a little bit in my NDAs don't last that long. It was a decade ago. He's embarrassed. Yeah, maybe. No, this show is definitely... No, if you got Giorgio on here, this show's definitely not still going on. Yeah.
Adventure was the stuff.
The very first moment for me with home gaming definitely came with Adventure for the Atari 2600.
This was more than just Pong. It was more than just combat. It was something that actually made you think. It was really the first action-adventure game on a home console system.
That was the first time ever playing a game where it really felt like there were things going on in the world around you outside of that little screen.
This game had mazes, dungeons, castles, keys, secrets, all sorts of things.
And so you were just this tiny little block.
Highly detailed in your pixelated squareness.
Oh, you liked Giorgio's "You Are Not Dumb" speech, or "You Are Not Stupid"? I seriously want to make an anti-video of that. You are probably stupid. If people have told you that you're stupid in your life, and there's been more than one of them that have told you that on different instances, different occasions, you may very well be stupid. And you should believe them, because there's probably something to it there if you got several people telling you that.
And there's these guys that are kind of doing their own thing on the screen that you're on, but at the same time, there's things moving around all around you. So this bat is grabbing stuff from someplace else.
Dude, those... Oh, shit.
In the maze somewhere.
Those graphics are depressing. I don't know, man. I mean, technically, by definition, I guess that's a video game, but oh my god. Those are just depressingly bad graphics.
Guarding a key that you need.
And you have objectives you have to go to and accomplish in order. You have to find the key, find this object, avoid the duck, dragon thing.
Most of the graphics of the day were pretty crude by today's standards. Oh, except for the dragons. Now those look totally realistic, and they drove me quackers.
Those were dragons? Those were not dragons. Those were giant yellow ducks.
Quack, quack. Quack, quack, motherfucker.
This is for all the adventurers out there who died in the dragon's belly.
Oh, and one of the dragons is named Grundle. I just thought that was funny.
You could
Wow.
master the game and still
was
always
awkward.
find a real challenge in there.
Very influential though for adventure games to come. Obviously, Legend of Zelda, basic structure comes from adventure.
So all you Legend of Zelda fans out there, you have Adventure on 2600 to thank.
The very first video game Easter egg was found in the game Adventure.
The creator, Warren Robinette, actually was kind of angry that he never got credit for the game, put an Easter egg into it.
If you found an invisible key, basically a key that was the same color as the background, you found this key.
Oh, James Rolfe is,
You might have picked it up just
is
randomly
in
by
these
accident.
eventually.
And then if you put it into this invisible door on a wall that was otherwise not marked, you could find this invisible room.
And the screen's flickering like crazy. I'm like, are you sure this is right? And sure enough, he walks off that screen where there had always been a wall that you couldn't pass, and there it is, created by Warren Robinette.
I don't know how in the world people could have found this back in the day.
The guy was an instant god to us who were into the games like that. Like, look at that, he got his name in there too.
Atari wasn't having that. You know, they didn't think that was necessary information to be in there.
Oh yeah, he got in a lot of trouble for it. He did. They didn't like that at all.
They didn't give their programmers any kind of credit for creating the game so that they could just keep them to themselves.
Video game programmers weren't the most respected lot.
Didn't give them any royalties, didn't give them any credit for the games they were developing.
And it kind of just started this revolution.
And that's when a bunch of those people basically, did, I'm sure this is going to get blurred out, did this to Atari.
4 of Atari's top developers got together, left Atari, created Activision.
Activision was founded on the basis of giving game programmers credit where credit is due.
Adventure is very important to the history of video games.
Activision would be the first major third-party software developer.
How does it sound like they're recording their audio in a porta potty, like one of those big porta potties where 2 people can be in the same time? I don't even know if those exist. I feel like in one of my fever dreams I did.
Right. And that altered gaming history forever.
Love you, man.
Oh yeah, you can tell Juario's giving them Channel Awesome vibes. Now, this man definitely was a perfect candidate for that guy with the glasses. What a frame that I paused it on. Jesus Christ.
Insert coin.
Vector-based graphics in video games. 79 was a breakout year for it.
Really crisp, really clear graphics. Relatively simple. Black and white for the most part at first. Eventually there were color vector games, but that's something completely different.
And you couldn't emulate vector graphics on a TV
Yeah,
screen.
probably the
Pixel
face he made when
graphics
leaks
were,
came out.
A little rudimentary sometimes for conveying what they were trying to say.
In the Atari and the television, they used blocks. And you can't make a straight line or it's going to be look like a staircase.
I mean, it really created a faux three-dimensional feel to it.
Because of the lines going from thick to thin, it would give you the appearance of something disappearing or getting closer to you in the distance.
You got awesome shapes and it had like this 3D and all that, and I have no idea how it worked.
They used, what's it called? Globulars.
I'm sure Rue knows, and this is the part of the video he'll explain.
You had your cathode ray tube TV, screen, if you will. And instead of having the electron gun kind of just going back and forth and putting out the picture of the whole, field of play, you had it just zap, geometric shapes out, and it would the gun would shoot electrons directly at the screen and make these images.
See, that's who needs video games? I just did it right there. There you go.
I like the way the Vectrix looks also.
Vector graphic. Well, Vectrix isn't around 1979, so that would be in the future. And yeah, so that's kind of like a time paradox thing.
Yeah, but that's for another episode, I'm sure.
That's for another episode.
But that shit was cool though.
A few, 3 people might remember a game called Lunar Lander.
And I remember playing it the first time and thinking, these physics are completely unrealistic, and it's only because I was used to video game physics being unrealistic.
You had a little lunar lander, which could try to land on the moon and you would control it and be exciting, but it was vector graphics.
Warrior came out and it used vector graphics, but at the time it didn't really have the power to render the backgrounds, so what you had to do was put overlays on it.
That was the very first head-to-head fighting game.
And you had two guys with like these laser swords.
I'm sorry, I just literally have nothing to say about any of this right now because I never played any of these games. I know about them. I have no childhood nostalgia connected to any of these games. And I don't think these guys really did either. Because they would have been like a video game playing age when the NES came out. But I mean, maybe some of the older guys in this video, like the one guy who runs some video game museum, he looks pretty old even in this video. So maybe he had experience with it. But like, I don't know, like. Once again, I don't know why they started this series in the mid-70s going up to the mid-80s and then they stopped before shit really started getting interesting in the 90s, but whatever.
It was, come on, they were lightsabers.
Star Wars came out a couple years earlier. It was still really big, hot.
Maybe they should have actually marketed it as a Star Wars game. Maybe they could have gotten more sales.
Technically, the precursor to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and all games like that where you're fighting head-to-head against your buddy.
You had some really great vector graphics games come out this year.
And opened the door for vector programming, which, you know, those types of games to this day are unique.
High score.
And now Rue presents the gaming innovation of 1979.
Rue the Peeper. The Piss Peeper.
Hello. Welcome to the gaming innovation of 1979. What new technology graced the world and changed the face of video gaming forever? Compact discs were introduced to the international media for the first time this year. A joint venture between Sony and Philips. They were only meant to hold audio data at first. But by the mid-80s, the CD-ROM was developed, and the dawn of the 90s brought about whole video games on these babies. Without this, we'd never have full-motion video.
I love the smell of the sewers in the morning. They smell like victory!
That does it for the gaming innovation of 1979. Be sure to come back next year, and don't forget, it's not just nostalgia, it's science. Yes.
Try again. Turn any color TV into an exciting game arcade. And there's more.
So 79 rolls around and we're getting to the point where home computers are getting pretty big, and you're starting to see them in more schools and even some homes.
This was the first time the personal computer really started to be affordable. By affordable, I mean like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000.
And naturally, people are thinking, maybe I could try my hand at making a game.
You had major geeks buying these things, and there wasn't a lot to do.
This is where basic programming language comes in very handy.
What is it? Basic is a computer like language, right? It's language.
I don't know. Call Rue and ask him.
Developed back in the 60s when programming languages, that was a good time to start developing them because, hell, who wants to be programmed?
How come everybody who looks like Jared Fogle ends up doing something creepy? I just made the connection just now. Rue looks like, I don't know, kind of like a Jared Fogle. I feel like anyone who looks like Jared Fogle is going to be fogling, Fogling women, just fogling whoever.
Programming assembly all the time.
OMG.
Boom! The real video Rue wants to make the top 10 times the women have gone to the bathroom at the steakhouse that I paid off the owner for me to install the cameras in. Moment number 10.
We added something intelligent.
If you don't learn basic, your option is to get harder. There's nothing simpler.
Moving the electrons with, magnetized pens into code however you want there. That's how they did it back in the Stone Age, I think.
Basic is called basic because it is easy. It's a high-level programming language, which means that you are further away from the nuts and bolts of what's going on in the computer.
And you started to see BASIC come out on various gaming platforms, too.
Atari VCS, Bally Professional, Atari,
Odyssey, Television, Atari, they all had BASIC on it. It was almost like a craze.
Granted, it was a giant pain in the ass to try to program in BASIC on the Atari VCS, but it could be done.
With the proliferation of BASIC as a computer language into the 70s, it gave way to
Their matching backwards blue hats are cute. It's a cute touch. Although the bigger guy, it looks like his hat doesn't really fit his head as well, which is a problem that I have, so I can relate.
Actually more intricate PC gaming, and people could start creating their own games, and role-playing games actually started to become more popular.
It helped the first wave of our, gene.
Oh wait, this is the third episode where Ian's wearing the hoodie with the hood over him, because he's so fucking cool. Man, he is just, he's gonna go to a Tom or Comtrue's show after this. Or like a fucking, I don't know, what's some other fucking underground electronic, the Carpenter Brute show after this. This is just his thing he does on the side, man. You can tell by, like, I can't even be bothered to put my hood down when I'm on camera, dude.
Genius game creators to kind of get their...
And he cannot make a whole lot of eye contact with that camera. He's always got to be looking over to his boyfriend, Pat. Pat who's... looks maxing at this point in his life, way before Clavicular did it. Shout out to June the King's video. I watched it today. Yeah, Ian's got trouble with that eye contact. Early onset Asperger's going on here.
Feet wet.
One of the people most notably to get their start this year, supposedly, was Richard Garriott.
Lord British.
Mr. Ego.
Mr. Ego. You know, creates a top-down game that was clearly based off of Dungeons & Dragons.
Akalabeth, 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 Akalabeth. Also the game of the devil.
He was in high school. He was a high school kid.
He was in high school. He sold it.
Before the game was eventually distributed by California Pacific Computer Company, it was sold at a local computer store in Ziploc.
Hold on, let me just do this real quick. Thank you to Mr. Bagsley. Super chat, really enjoyed your newest video on AVGN. It was more on Kyle Justin, but same difference. You have Mr. Couch Incident. Here is some money. Thanks for great videos, bro. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. $20. Thank you.
Bags. Like most homegrown things. I mean, homebrewed. Winners don't use drugs.
No, it's interesting with the with no internet, the video game, especially among computers, the creation, the scene was very much a local grassroots sort of thing. You didn't hear about a game unless it was good enough to be copied over and over and over and over again and actually make its way across the country.
The game's creator, Richard Garriott, says that it came out in 1979, but the labels on the first release clearly state 1980.
This was like the Wild West of computer game programming.
Richard Garriott, a controversy.
It was very simple at the time. Just an RPG, basically a dungeon crawler with a very rudimentary overworld map.
And this is what spawned, stuff that we'll see later on, like the Ultima series. I mean, this is big name stuff.
A company called Automated Simulations came out with another very early RPG called Temple of Apshai.
Where, you actually have graphical, this isn't even a text adventure, you have a representation of yourself on the screen, you move around and find treasure and fight monsters.
Not unsurprisingly, the company was founded by some guys who had a D&D game together. You can see the connection.
It was almost like a gaming revolution, literally from the ground up, in terms of kids and people just getting into a computer and just being fascinated by it. All of a sudden now they become the first run of a giant company that's going to be formed.
Automated Systems eventually became Epic's Games, and they released games, and they had some success through the 80s, and eventually they released California games on the NES. And then they went bankrupt.
I like when you were basic.
There you go.
That genuinely made Ian sad, you could tell.
In Warriors today, we're going up against the most feared commander, and everyone counts. Even you quid. Man your ships, man your ships, man your ships.
Galaxian was Namco's answer to Space Invaders.
Taito comes out with Space Invaders. Big hit. Huge hit.
We had this little luncheonette, and that luncheonette always had one pinball machine and one arcade machine. And I remember when they switched out the Space Invaders and they put Galaxian in there.
The plot was simple enough and it was summed up in 7 words.
Okay, with this guy, I keep wondering, are they using like a wide-angle lens, or is his face just that fish-eyed looking, just by default. Like he's just looks like he's looking right into a fish-eyed lens, this guy. And I keep wondering. Anyway, I don't know. A lot of girls like guys with like ginormous noses. Breathing up all my air.
It's on the title screen.
We are the Galaxians. Mission destroy aliens. Wait, are they robots? They are now.
The impact of a game like that at the time is amazing. I mean, you can't, it's kind of hard to imagine now. You look at it, you're like, it looks like kind of a weak Galaga, right? But if you played that game in 79 or 80, there was nothing else like it.
Space Invaders may have sort of created the genre, but Galaxian set the tone for how it was really going to play out for the rest of its lifespan.
Revolutionary for a time, like so many firsts in video games for that.
Seriously, like the graphics were crazy. Like it was the first game with RGB graphics, right?
You even know what RGB is?
That would be Red Game Boy.
I'm surprised you actually got that.
Not a complete moron.
It had sprites with multicolors, especially in the explosions when you destroyed them.
First game that had different colored fonts on the screen at the same time. First game to have a visual representation of how many players you had left and what stage you were on.
There were stars too.
There were stars! Stars! They moved!
It was beautiful.
This is not only in real color, but these guys are now coming after me. Like they're not just slowly marching down the screen. I gotta watch out where I'm going.
It was the first game that had enemies that acted differently and had different personalities.
But the enemies had like even their own attack patterns, including like kamikaze attacks, which is crazy.
Bandai! I mean, Banzai!
Yeah, that fucking green screen reflection on Pat and Ian is really bad. And the audio's really bad. And Pat, up until this point, had been making videos for like, what, 6 or 7 years? Pat the NES Punk, the character. He had been making videos. He'd use green screen. Literally everybody else's green screen looks fine-ish for the most part. Pat, one of the daddies of this show, literally worst audio, worst green screen. Like, throw some fucking contrast on there or something. Get rid of that washed out look. I don't know. It's so, like, even back then, I felt like that was like an easy fix. This wasn't like a million years ago. This was like 2013 or 2012.
The Galaxian enemies, as they come down, they will screw with you. Because depending on how many are left.
What commentator is the best in this series, in my opinion? Norm, gaming historian, whoever. They had him on the first two, and he hasn't been on this one yet, but him, just because he's the least insufferable.
They might, swoop down, and then they'll just keep coming, and they'll never reset to be easily shot again.
To have that all coming at you like that, where you got...
Anyway, Junkers, $5 super chat. Let's be honest, does anybody really care about pre-1985 video game history? Unless you lived it, I don't think you would, in my opinion. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at. Battle Tanks was a pretty cool game. Like Dig Dug. But, they get old after like 15 minutes to me.
They took the shot, Namco.
So Galaxians like span like a life of its own after. You have Galaga, the sequel, and then the Gal bosses end up showing up and stuff, like even up to current gen.
That's right, Namco uses them great. Like there were power-ups in the Pac-Man Deluxe. You play Ridge Racer, there were like logos on the side of the car.
Galaxian deserves its props in the video game Hall of Fame that I'm building in my basement.
Galaxian set a sort of visual standard for how video games would look after.
You've heard the whole story about how Pac-Man was going to be called Puck-Man, but then they changed it to Pac-Man because with the P, you could easily cross out the middle of the P so it said Fuck-Man. I wish Pac-Man had just been called Fuck-Man with just Fuckman, just Fuck-Man. That would have been awesome. That would have been a great name.
I know what we're talking about.
It's Halo.
High score.
And now Pat Country presents the Forgotten Video Games of 1979.
Pat here to tell you about the forgotten video games of 1979. The Atari Cosmos, Atari developed a holographic LED tabletop game system. Unique, interesting, but it was never released. Sega produced Head-On, an arcade game featuring a race car traveling around a maze collecting dots. Yeah, we would never see that again in video games. And the TI-99. Long before they produced calculators that help you cheat on tests and play drug wars, Texas Instruments came out with this solid but underselling computer system. And those were the forgotten video games of 1979. Just because you didn't remember them doesn't mean they're not fun.
Yes, Pat spent his
And now Pixel
mic
Dan
money
presents
on
the
eyeliner.
other toys of 1979.
Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is the other toys of 1979.
From the farthest reaches of imagination comes a Lego space set.
The Lego Space Series.
Yes, that was Bill Cosby.
The space-themed Legos have always been one of the most popular, and I'm sure lots of you guys out there had some as a kid. 1979 was the year they first arrived.
It's the Batmobile, complete with Batman and Robin. And the Batcave, sold separately. Assembly required.
Migos superhero figures. Characters from the Marvel and DC universes came into action figure form, and Migos would go on to be one of the most sought-after collectibles in later years.
Kenner presents you Alien action figure.
Quick, shut the alarm. The alien's locked out now.
And one of the most...
The 70s were only good for the music that came out of it. None of the electronics were there yet. I'm sorry. They weren't. They probably had better made furniture and the music that came out, and the pot wasn't laced with fentanyl, and that's about it for the 70s as far as I'm concerned.
controversial figure releases of all time, Kenner's Alien figure. The first time a toy was based on an R-rated film.
Yeah, bro, I think you're talking about Offset
So there you go,
from
guys.
the
That's
Migos.
the other toys of
He got capped.
1979. Remember, video games aren't the only cool toys out there.
Power up.
Discover a world beyond your wildest dreams. Discover Atari.
1979 was the year that the Atari VCS really started to take hold.
Almost 2 years on the market.
78, it was not heavily advertised, only around Christmas.
They're selling enough of this that maybe they should market it more than just during the Christmas season. So 1979.
I guess I can
is
give you some movies
start of a change.
that came out from
And
the
it was really
70s.
the year where you started getting away from those generic titles that you don't want to even remember, like Fun with Numbers, and really get into titles that people care about. For example,
Canyon Bomber. Really fun two-player game. Kind of like a reverse breakout with planes.
The goal of the game is to drop bombs to break bricks.
No, what was like some of the better movies of the 70s? I'm trying to think. I want to say Shining was 1980. The Shining, so that don't count. What? Probably a lot of them that I haven't fucking seen, honestly, unless something's slipping my mind here. First Godfather, I preferred Godfather 2 way more. Rocky came out in the 70s. I thought that was 80s. Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Never seen Deer Hunter. Warriors. Never seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Started to watch Jaws, but I didn't care. Apocalypse Now was long. I saw the director's cut, so that was probably my mistake, but that was long and drawn out. I'm pissing everyone off right now. Nicky, $10 super chat. I'm having a drink with you tonight, my friend. Thank you. If I'm streaming, you know I'm probably drinking. I knew someone was going to say Blazing Saddles. Clockwork Orange was okay. No, I am not a curator of film, so please take all of my opinions with a motherfucking grain of salt, because I am not a movie guy. I don't have a movie channel. I'm just shooting from the hip over here.
In the canyon. Fun fact, it's exactly the same way the Grand Canyon was made.
And, funny enough, 2001 Space Odyssey, which is one of my favorite movies, that was 60s. That was a whole ass decade before, so...
Miniature golf, I love the game. Favorite thing for me to do was actually to take the putter, go to the far end of the screen, release it.
Wasn't this a Spinal Tap 79? Or was that 80?
And then be like, entire length of the screen away from the cup. Skydiver.
Jump out of a plane, pull your parachute, land on the target.
Oh yeah, that
The
70s
reward,
show. Yeah.
Not dying.
But that show, I never liked that
I play
show
the
either.
game sometimes still just to hear that sound. It's great.
Video chess, a game that was considered impossible at the time
Spinal
due to
Tap
the
was
sprite
80
limitations of the
82,
Atari
okay.
VCS, but it was made possible through creative programming. Problem with the game was that the computer would actually take its time to think about the next move. It could take anywhere from 10 seconds to 10 hours to make one move. Not even Bobby Fischer himself would have the patience for that.
I don't know, favorite Kubrick film? It's gonna be a basic bitch choice for me. It's gotta be The Shining. Shining and 2001: Space Odyssey.
Saw the box, saw the cartridge, got all excited. We popped it in, we turned it on, and it was kind of one of those moments where like,
I don't know. Does Exorcist stand the test of time though, as a horror movie?
I don't know if we were.
Oh, dude, yeah. Space Odyssey blew my mind, especially if you watch it in 1080. It looks brilliant.
Even for 1979 standards.
it was bloody awful. Like this bridge explodes, and then you gotta go find pieces, and it didn't make any sense. No amount of imagination could help the awfulness of the Superman game. Like when you're flying and you see the buildings, and you decide to fly up a screen, the buildings kind of reset, and then fly up and they reset again.
You could just be flying left over and over and over until something would finally show up.
And like I know it's technical limitations, but it's just like the programmers, you know, did what most did.
Yeah, so Medical Field 187 says none of these guys are old enough to have fucking A. None of these guys are old enough to have played these old shit when it came out. That's my biggest problem with like these 70s and early 80s episodes. Like you guys, maybe 80s. I'll give you that for sure.
All right.
Because they're all like in their 40s and 50s now. So yeah, 80s would make sense. But
video game system came out.
yeah, they just researched all this shit. Now they're acting like they were like there for it.
I was alive and playing games back then, and I actually don't remember this system at all. But I'm sure John Gamester has one.
Milton Bradley in 1979 released and introduced the Microvision.
Oh wait, hold on. I totally forgot about this one. Favorite Kubrick film? iRobot. Oh yeah, iRobot. Wait, or was it AI? With Haley Joel Osment. Didn't Kubrick? He consulted on one of them. Oh wait, no, Eyes Wide Shut, man. Maybe that's it. I'm just kidding. Both of those movies can get fucked, except the orgy scene in Eyes Wide Shut. It's the only good scene in the whole movie. And then AI could have been a good movie, but they just dragged it on, and it ended up just being dragging on way too long.
In controller buttons, which were actually connected to the system's hidden keypad.
There is an LCD display on it, and
Primitive.
Very primitive, prone to breaking.
The thing about the Microvisions today that you encounter are screen rots, and the screens tend to leak as well. So you gotta be careful to find a good system that still works.
Now it may seem like the Microvision had a few technical problems, but that's not all. The keypad was also prone to destruction, and the system was prone to electrical issues, so actually had quite a few technical problems.
And the interesting thing is the actual system itself doesn't have much. It has an LCD screen, a paddle, the buttons, and a chip that communicates between the buttons and the screen, but all the microprocessing stuff and all the game data was on the cartridge itself.
I think Ian lacks any solid vertebrae in his body. It's all very like gelatinous and like cartilage. It's not like solid bone matter with him.
And they could overheat if they weren't inserted properly. Milton Bradley switched processors from Intel over to Texas Instruments so they could run it on just one battery. Now, instead of making costly new molds, they decided to take the terminals out of the second compartment and called it the spare battery holder. Now you're playing with power.
It was kind of crappy, honestly. If you read up on this thing at all, you'll realize it had a lot of problems. It had a handful of games.
There are only about 12 games released for the system during its lifespan. Some notable releases include Blockbuster,
Alien Raiders, Space Invaders clone, no surprise. Pinball, baseball, Milton Bradley game, Connect 4. I would play that in a handheld.
Connect 4.
Microvision had the first official Star Trek video game. I don't care. You don't.
I know what a
care.
micro
Call it
penis
something.
is. I don't know about a microvision.
The only thing I find interesting at all is that quite possibly the first licensed Star Trek game came out for the thing. That's exciting.
And it came out in conjunction with the motion picture that came out the same year.
That's all you need to know about the Microvision handheld. That's the only exciting thing about it. The end.
The Game Boy, the Nomad, the DS, it all stemmed from the Microvision.
It looks like the Microvision had a grand vision in the long run.
High score.
By the end of 1980, Space Invaders was getting blasted out of first place by asteroids. In this game, your ship must destroy floating rocks and shooting spaceships before they destroy you.
Oh, there was one video game that...
The fuck? They actually had Frank on this show? Wow. Okay, guys. All right, chat. What is Pat's relationship to Frank? I gotta know. Someone's gotta know in the chat. Now, I know gay lover is gonna come up. I know that's coming up, but I wonder, you know, what... And he never explained it, and probably never will.
My nephew had...
yeah,
that was,
see, I saw Lovers.
That was
yeah,
pretty good.
Knew that was coming.
You were like, I don't know the name of it. You
And it's
were
not that
in
I
a
disagree.
spaceship, a little flying saucer, and you had to fly around and avoid asteroids and shoot them.
Was it called Asteroids?
It could have been, you know, I don't know.
I freaking love Asteroids.
Whenever growing up in the arcades, I used to always play Asteroids a lot. I love the vector style graphics. I love the fact that you shoot one large asteroid, they split up into smaller asteroids, those split up into even smaller asteroids. And you get the random flying saucers that shoot at you too. So there's a lot going on in Asteroids.
They're everywhere. There's asteroids everywhere. What should I do? Shoot them. I'll shoot them. Pew, pew, pew.
And then they go, pew, little ones, and they're going faster, and you're like, ah!
You know, they could have just played the sound effect. We didn't need a bunch of, like, fucking greasy-handed from cheese pizza fucking Mountain Dew drinking nerds making the sounds with their mouth. They could have just played the sound. It didn't add more entertainment value to hear these. You got a peeping Tom here, and then, you know, that Pixel Dan guy looks weird to me. And whatever, making all these mouth noises. I didn't need that on my Friday night.
Oh my god! How fun is that?
Not very. I actually don't like asteroids very much at all.
I don't like you.
Don't like the button setup.
The 5-button setup was ingenious.
I don't
You
like
had
the thrusting.
You had thrust, you had left, you had right, you had fire, and you had hyperspace, which was a giant crapshoot because you didn't know where in the hell were you gonna go.
hyperspace would randomly send you to another part of the screen. However, if you use it too much, you'd end up blowing yourself up because you'd hyperspace into an asteroid. So no one really used that as far as I know, because like again, you had the little finger set up, but then you had that metacarpal thing going on trying to get to that hyperspace button. So I never really used it.
They're discouraging you from using it.
Yeah, you only hit it with your elbow while you're playing. That's how it was. I'm doing the asteroids dance.
Someone needs to like clip that of Pat and make a GIF of it, because that looks. He looks like he's mentally touched there. Mountain Dew, more like Peepin' Roo. Yeah, I mean, it's been confirmed. Someone made a whole ass YouTube video on it that was sent to me.
Right now.
Hyperspace was a good way to get out of a jam, but if you used it too much, it could become deadly. We're talking Warp 9 dangerous here. She can't take much more of this, Captain.
Oh.
I have no idea what I'm doing here.
I guess it technically.
That's the
had
Michael
like a physics
Ian
thing
Black
going on,
of
'cause
the
it's all based on
show.
Momentum.
Yep.
But my problem was I just tap on the thruster and I'd go shooting off and smack into a freaking asteroid.
It doesn't just stop on a dime. If you stop hitting the thrust button, you keep going. I mean, okay, the physics is kind of weird because you go from one end
Ian
of the
eats
screen
corn the long way.
other, so that's like cartoon physics, but
Well, the funny thing about, well, not funny thing, but the thing is with Asteroids is just for some reason it was Atari's best-selling game.
True. They even like swapped out some lunar lander cabinets for it, right?
in fact, they had to stop production of the Lunar Lander, another vector graphics game. They had to stop production of those cabinets to use them for the Asteroids cabinets, and it did pretty well for
I think
itself.
Pixel Dan is the House Sparks.
The VCS port, Atari VCS port of
this.
Asteroids in 1980 was a huge seller for the system. It was one of those turning point moments for the VCS when they got Asteroids on there.
And there was a good example we mentioned before how you could only do vector graphics in the arcade because the VCS version of Asteroids was big colored blobs, and it didn't quite look as good.
They
as
need
the
to have
arcade
Lord
version.
Cat
Do you remember the
Felicia
arcade
on
version of
here.
Asteroids,
That
I
would
believe, also
complete.
had to use
That
an
would
overlay
complete
for
everything.
color as well. Yeah.
The Asteroid soundtrack is just like Space Invaders. It's that heartbeat rhythm that.
I had a chance to interview Notch. That would have been huge for today in gaming. But no, they caught wind that I was associated with Blister Thumbs, and I told them, no, I'm not. And they thought I was you, running up and down the halls, yelling betrayed like a fucking moron. You just don't get it. You just don't get it, because you don't give a fuck.
They needed to have Lord Cat Felicia on here.
Just gets faster and faster as the game progresses. I remember when I was a kid, there was a cocktail version of Asteroids at a children's hospital I had to go to, and of course I was nervous about my procedure, so to take my mind off it, my parents said, hey, why don't you go play Asteroids? Somehow it didn't set my mind at ease.
Betrayed me!
Insert coin.
This game sucks!
Television by Mattel. More sophisticated than any video game.
You know this clip I'm talking about, the Spoonie betrayal video. If you ever notice Angry Joe, he goes like cross-eyed. He's like, I can't even do it, but he's like making this really cartoonish Mexican face, like his nuts just got walloped with a sledgehammer or something. Like it's a very odd face Angry Joe made when Spoonie was doing that.
That has come before, providing hours of entertainment for the entire family. In television, with one of the clearest game displays available today.
All right, 1979. In this year, Mattel was the largest toy company. Actually, today, they're still the largest toy company out there. But in 1979, action figures and Hot Wheels and Barbies, well, that wasn't enough for Mattel, no.
The handheld game market was not enough. They wanted to make a console. They test marketed the Intellivision.
That's an Intellivision too.
Close enough.
Which is short for Intelligent Television.
They test marketed it in Central California through Gottschalk's department stores.
Oh my God, they actually have like somebody who actually has something to do with the actual creation of these things, and not just some YouTuber talking head trying to be funny. Holy shit, that's crazy.
I forget how many Gottschalks there were in the Central Valley, but probably like 6 of them.
We got better graphics, we got better sound, we got better games.
They were more expensive. I mean, it was $300 for an Intellivision compared to $150 for an Atari 2600. And it went on the shelves with just 6 games.
Santa Claus cameo.
My favorite looking video game system of all time. I mean, it's gold and brown and wood. It literally looks like the dashboard off a 1976 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme.
The Intellivision had a lot going for it, and there were a lot of things that actually made it a little more superior than the Atari VCS. The graphics were a little bit better, the colors that were
Tommy Tallarico shows up in this series.
The Intellivision was technically the first 16-bit console, but the Super Nintendo, it was not. Obviously.
You know, Atari came out first. Great company. I mean,
Oh, there he
the
is.
ones who really...
Yeah. I wonder if Pat was the one on the other end there, like filming him, or like, you know, asking him questions off camera or whatever, for him to then answer on camera. Tommy Tallarico, video game composer. I bet. Shit. Oh, the tangle webs that they would weave. Pat and Tommy going. Actually, Tommy is the best thing that ever happened to Pat in the last 10 plus years. Yeah. Pat better be thanking his lucky stars he crossed paths with Thomas Tallarico.
Really kind of revolutionized the stuff.
Everybody owned it.
Oh, dude.
Major game.
Josh, did you ever watch Tommy Tallarico's show Judgment Day with that other guy whose name I can never... Yes, I fucking love Judgment Day. That was like my second favorite show on G4 outside of Icons. I really like Judgment. That's when I first learned about Ikaruga on GameCube was from Judgment Day, because I think they would talk about like hidden gems, but I don't think they called him hidden gems. They had another snappy name for him. A little baby metal Jesus was probably watching that, taking notes, you know. But yeah, Judgment Day was awesome. Apparently his partner, whose name I forget, is like on YouTube and has a channel or some shit.
Are coming out on Atari, and basically
Victor Lucas, there you go.
What happened with the Atari 2600
Yeah, that's the other one.
I
I always forget his name.
Program games that were faster, more responsive, felt more arcadey. But
yeah,
G4
G4 fucking rocked.
Television with a couple of years of
talk about
development
nostalgic
time
memories.
on the 2600 had much better graphics.
And they also had the license of most sports outlets like Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA, NFL.
Somebody in the marketing department had this brilliant idea.
Oh, what Victor Lucas was on My Retro Life, guy. Thank you for putting that in parentheses, guys. Whose dad died, because literally his whole channel is about that, which is unsettling. It's odd, coming from someone who also has a dead dad, who died more recently. And I'm not trying to do Trauma Olympics here with you, but like that is such a bizarre, like, flow through for your channel. Is these are all games that I played with my dad or so. I'm trying to be as sensitive as possible here, but I just find it bizarre. I'm sorry.
Of, well, we don't have the arcade machines and we don't have the budget to go after some of those.
Atari focused their efforts on trying to get licenses from the arcade, and television went for the sports titles.
At the time, we had the exclusive, so only we had NFL football and only we had Major League Baseball.
The Intellivision as a system actually did a lot of things first. This might seem small, but it was the first system to have a full font embedded within the system. Uppercase and lowercase letters, which is really important for readability in any sort of game that's going to have text on the screen.
And when you add the keyboard component available this summer, Intellivision can change your family's life.
If that Santa Claus guy wanted to examine you and he told you he was a doctor, would you believe him and like let him examine you? I probably would.
It's the keyboard for the Intellivision.
One of the things I really like about the Intellivision are the
Tommy Tallarico smelled something about that Intellivision. He's like, you know what? There's something here. And my vision will not be realized until, well, never. But the idea of this is something I'm going to sell to people 10 years from the recording of this episode. Yes, the Intellivision.
controllers. You had the 16-way directional disc here. You could also put a joystick on there as well and use it that way.
The Intellivision
Wait
controller,
a second, Santa.
I
You
still
said
think
one
is
finger.
genius. I mean, people think I'm nuts, but I mean, you had all the numbers with the overlays, but the side buttons in the disc. I mean, this was unbelievable.
This is kind of telling, isn't it? How much he's praising the Intellivision controller. It's very telling. This was the prelude. Nobody's watching this show anymore. We're watching it right now in 2026. After all the knowledge that we have of what Tallarico would go on to do with it. So this is a fascinating little prelude, eh?
I think it was like
12. I just used the Canadian A just then.
12 plus 4 buttons on the side, I think. So it's like 16 buttons on the freaking thing.
Kept that golden brown feel. It had the phone number pad.
Looked like a freaking telephone. You know, what am I gonna call my grandmother, or am I gonna play video games here, right?
And one of the other things that Intellivision did differently is they had these controls that utilized these little overlays. Basically, they were overlays just like this. Small little pieces of plastic that you just put on top of your controller that had different functions or showed you different keypad motions for the video game that you're playing.
Back in the day, if you lost those overlays,
Catgirl
you couldn't
9,
play
I
the
think,
game
is
unless
probably
you
wearing a
remembered what all the
negligee,
buttons,
perhaps a
you know, did.
nightgown. I hope
nowadays
nothing.
you can obviously go on the internet and look them up, but back then you lost them. What were you gonna do? Buy the game again and ask a friend?
If you actually open up an Intellivision controller to try to service it, as I had to do recently, this is what your Intellivision controller is printed on. There's no circuit board. This is barely stronger than snack cake packaging, and they just put the circuits directly on it. Not only that, but certain parts, like sensitive areas, like where the control disc goes, there is no buffer between the disc, so it actually grinds rings into the circuit itself.
I personally hate this controller. Luckily, you know, you can, well, not luckily about anything, you have to use this controller.
The Intellivision had a huge library of games. I mean, the system spanned almost 10 years. Of course it had a huge library of games.
The Intellivision came with Las Vegas Poker and Blackjack as a pack-in game. Sure, it was no Super Mario Brothers, but it was a game.
The Tron games that they did, Deadly Discs was just one of them, but you know, this wasn't on any other system at the time, and it was unique. The movie was popular, and it's considered to be a decent game. games like Burger Time had their only sequel in Diner, like a true sequel, and it was only on Intellivision, and that's pretty cool.
Kind of a hard game to come by.
They had Burger Time for NES. Why do I know this? Because that was my mom's favorite fucking NES game to play growing up, was Burger Time. That and what was that fucking Fortress game on NES? Rampart and Burger Time. Those were her games. Crazy.
But it's a really fun port, and it's very unique. So if you like Burger Time, check out Diner for the Intellivision.
Me and my friends love Night Stalker, but the bats are so scary.
Well, your friends aren't going to have this newest one. It's Frog Bong.
Oh, man. They're not going to believe this.
I never really liked Burger Time. Rampart's a fun game,
really,
though.
the first health medical video game. And you go inside someone's body, try to figure out what's wrong.
You gonna open that?
No, it's sealed. Ruin the value.
One of my favorite games for the Intellivision is He-Man, The Power of He-Man. And this is a really fun port. There's several different stages. You got this hovercraft stage. You also have the stage where Skeletor's shooting fireballs at He-Man and he's trying to avoid them. I love the sound effects, the sound of the swords hitting each other, with the music from the actual cartoon. It's a really great port.
And then we have, like, these games everyone knows about, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons games. This one is the Tarman one, which is kind of cool because it's one of the first-person dungeon crawls that you see, and certainly the first one that was...
I honestly think Ian's one of the only guys on this entire show that would legitimately sit down and play these games for, like, hours and, like, convince you that, like, oh, yeah, this is a great game, I'm having a lot of fun, just to... you know, really establish his hipster credibility as like, oh, I liked all the old games before, you know, NES was even around, man. I was already loving these old, yeah, you may call them crappy, but they're actually awesome. And only somebody as sophisticated as me would truly get it, dude. You guys just don't get it, okay?
Ever done on a home console. So it's kind of the start of RPGs taking off.
Star Strike was an amazing kind of a Star Wars ripoff. You had to actually fly into the trench, but it was green, and drop the little torpedo into the target.
But one cool thing to know is that the Atari actually ported some of their games over to the Intellivision, their competitor. And Mattel actually did the exact same thing to the Atari, porting some of their games over under what they called the M network.
They said, and we're going to do games for Atari too, and for Intellivision.
Much like Atari, Mattel actually licensed.
Why does Gamester 81 look like Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine if he had decided to just like play video games instead of pick up the guitar? Like he looks like nerdy Tom Morello. Well, Tom Morello's already kind of a nerd, but he's like kind of badass as a guitar player and wrote some like killer riffs in Rage Against the Machine, so that kind of makes him not a nerd, but yeah, anyway.
Television out to third-party companies. For example, you had Radio Shack, the Tandyvision, which was Radio Shack's version of the Intellivision. You also had the Super Video Arcade, which was available at Sears, which is also another version of the Intellivision.
I have like about 5 or 6 different Intellivision machines.
Before Intellivision was there,
Santa
the
Claus!
dads were, and the moms and dads were, saying, should we get our kid a video game system? Should we get him? And after Intellivision came out, the question became, which one should we get?
2 million units sold in 1979. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty dang good.
In television.
In television. I like whatever that was.
Coming up next on the Video Game Years.
Hold on, don't spoil it now. We're about to get into that. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up this video of Rue the Peeper as an intermission here. Forget that dude's actual name. Peeping Tom. No, that's not it. Someone literally sent me the fucking video. It didn't have a lot of views. Joseph DeCina. That's his name. Joseph DeCina. Fucking allegations. I think I found it. Oh, this is gonna be funny. Yeah, so I guess he was on Jeopardy as well. Wow, he looks like Freddie Mercury's untalented cousin, AIDS and all. Retro gaming, YouTube, Russian peeping scandal. All right, I guess this is what, Smash JT2. I guess that dude has a second channel. I don't know much about this Smash JT guy, but I feel like he hates Rich. He's another guy who hates Rich from Review Tech USA. This is a short video, but I feel like the context needs to be here so it doesn't look like I'm just besmirching this guy's good name. Well, not so good anymore, but I guess during the filming of this, he didn't have a taste for peeping yet. This guy was on like actual, like, I guess because he was on Jeopardy, this dude was on like actual like news. He like got on the news, him specifically.
New York Post says Jeopardy champ arrested on charges of felony secret peeping. Well, Smash, why are you talking about this story? What's this have to do with anything video game related? Give me a second here. This Jeopardy champ may not be returning to Alex Trebek's stage anytime soon. Philip Joseph Joey DeCina, who won the hit game show twice last year, has been arrested on 2 charges of felony secret peeping, according to court documents obtained by the Post. DeCina was taken into custody on December 1st for Curtis County Sheriff's Office and Maple, North Carolina.
Gee whiz. What the hell? Fucking, his neck got like 10 times wider somehow. I think when you're guilty, that's just what happens. Your neck just does that.
Does this guy look familiar to anybody? Clan of the Grey Wolf. 61,000 subscribers. Oh, wait a sec. Is that him? Hold up.
It's a face you make when you didn't get the footage you wanted.
Now, he apparently has not used YouTube for over a decade or so. But let's hear what he has to say here.
Hey y'all, this is Rue for the Clan of the Grey Wolf. I'm here to give you a little bit more information on the 4th annual Clan of the Grey Wolf video game marathon for charity. Now, if you are at all a fan of this channel or website or anything that we do, I please ask you to just give us a few minutes of your time so I can explain a little bit more about what this is.
So he's got a video game YouTube channel, and he has been arrested on charges of felony secret peeping. I wonder what the details are for this. Authorities said the former Jeopardy winner willfully, and feloniously installed any device that could be used to create photographic images, namely a camera, placed in the bathroom with the intent to capture the image of another without their consent on October 10th. Post reached out to Sony Pictures Television for comment. DeCina, a development engineer from Raleigh, first made waves on the long-running ABC quiz show in November 2024 when he won 2 nights in a row. His debut episode, which premiered November 11th of last year, caused a stir among fans when the other 2 Jeopardy contestants tied for second place with $1 each. DeCina, meanwhile, won $17,000.
Anyway, you get the picture. Yeah, so he's a felonious peeper. And sorry, apparently everybody hates Smash JT. I don't know fuck all about the guy, but I guess sorry you had to see that if that offended your eyeballs. All right, well, before we get into 1980, I forgot my my flask. I need the hard stuff. Need the hard stuff. feels like forever. No one never tells you when forever feels like home. Oh shit. That song sucks. Looking at you through the glass, don't know how much time has passed. Oh God, don't have a parasocial relationship with me. All right. You guys ready to tackle 1980? Oh, God. All right, here we go. We're in the 80s now.
Americans spent $3.3 billion playing video games. That's more money than the total combined budgets for the cities of Chicago, Boston, Washington, Dallas, and Cincinnati last year.
It's the video game years, and this is 1980. The systems, the culture, the games.
1980 is here.
Yeah, so this has already been said several times. Yes, this was a direct ripoff of I Love the 80s. Pat has admitted this. Drinking Smirnoff vodka and Michelob Ultra. And Black Tar Smack. But I have it on intravenous drip. Anyhow.
Finally, thank you.
The arcades blow up from a missile attack.
And it's global thermonuclear war, and it's awesome.
Oh,
Nintendo.
there's Mark Bussler, Mark Bussler from Classic Game Room. I know that guy.
Gives us games that tell time.
Nintendo Game & Watch. That's pocket power.
And a computer game company bursts onto the scene.
The point of a computer game was to hurt you, to challenge you, to leave you stumped for a long period of time.
Plus, Pac-Man Fever. And we're going berserk. So watch out for spiders and avoid the grooves. This is 1980.
Next level.
No, not this stupid song.
Pac-Man?
Now that we know what we know, and you're seeing him now, how does that make you feel? I'm a crisis counselor if anyone feels a certain type of way. He's a peeper.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I remember it. Just seemed inane to me.
So 1980 comes. Pac-Man bursts onto the scene.
The arcade game Pac-Man was developed by Namco and licensed to Midway in 1980. It came out at a time when the most popular games were space shooters and of course more Pong clones.
But then Pac-Man comes along and essentially creates a whole new genre.
It was the first game with a cutscene, the first game with power-ups. It established the maze genre, and it's gone on to influence many games even today.
Some of the first cutscenes, I remember the chase, and that was like some of the first memorable music, I think, that really that people remembered.
For the first time, you have a character that, wow, that's Pac.
Oh my God, they finally fixed their audio and their fucking green screen, and they're like actually lit. Ian looks like the lesbian Beatle, like the fifth Beatle who was a lesbian and was a love child of John Lennon and another man. So yeah, maybe he should have kept the hoodie on. maybe there's a reason why I had those hoodies on in the last 3 episodes.
Man, that's not the Space Invader guy or the asteroid ship. That's Pac-Man. He's a cute little character that I adore.
The creator of Pac-Man was heavily inspired by American cartoons.
Well, we had to have someone on here with shitty audio, or else it wouldn't be the video game years, Beavis.
Power pellets, for example, were heavily inspired by Popeye's spinach.
The creation of the Pac-Man character was actually really fitting because the game designer Toru Iwatani partially came up with the idea while eating a pizza. He removed a slice of pizza and bam, there he was, Pac-Man.
Well, that's more myth than truth.
Pac-Man's actually based around the Japanese character for mouth, which is Ku-Chi, and it's a square, but Iwatani just rounded out the square.
Ku-Chi? The thing that none of us are getting right now? Nice.
Pac-Man was huge. I mean, it was just a tremendous success, and it was also
Howard Phillips? Is that the Howard Phillips? Nintendo of America. I guess so. Okay. Ramping it up a notch in the 1980s video game years.
over gender, where guys and girls were playing it and having a lot of fun with it.
Wouldn't it be cool if I were to create a game that the guys and the girls would want to play together? And really what he thought was, wouldn't it be cool if I could create a game where the girl says to the guy, oh, that looks so cute, like I want to go play this, and then she drags him over there. And then now we're getting money from both of them, right?
Pac-Man was so successful because...
And then Pixel Dan's in a microwave for some reason in this one. I don't know what's up with that, but that was a choice.
It was a brand new kind of game that appealed to both genders.
This was not the most politically correct thing to think at the time, but he thought to himself, what do girls like doing? Well, they like desserts and they like eating. So we're going to make this game called Pac-Man about eating food and eating delicious looking desserts, and everything's gonna be cute, bright colors.
Pac-Man comes from the term paku paku, which is, I guess, automatopoeia for opening one's mouth and closing one's mouth in Japanese.
That initial name was changed into Puck-Man because, you know, it's kind of like a puck with a mouth. Sure, why not? Looks nice on the side of an arcade cabinet. But when it came to America, they decided to change that name to Pac-Man because Puck-Man could be vandalized into something not so PG.
Like recording women going to the bathroom. That was ironic that you were the one to deliver that line.
Then you have Man.
I wasn't gonna say it, but making it Man.
No. We would never think like that. Never. When you heard the word puck, you never want to automatically associate it with
Lemmings
the word,
into shiny metal boxes. Pepperoni nipple guy. $5 super chat. Thank you so much.
What? An F?
Not just your character, but your enemies had personalities. Blinky, Inky, Pinky, and Clyde.
They all reacted differently.
They had their own AI.
That was the key to being good at the game.
Once you go past 256 levels, the game breaks. You cannot play anymore. It's kill screen.
It goes half berserko, where you can't play it anymore. It's essentially the kill screen, but it's not really the kill screen. It's just a big glitch.
Therefore, it is possible to play a perfect game of Pac-Man, where you can get the maximum number of points. And people have done that.
Yeah, Billy Mitchell at FunSpot did the very first and only perfect Pac-Man game, which is every power pellet, every energizer, every pellet, every ghost that turns blue, every point you can get, every special item. How is that possible? But the guy did it.
Pac-Man was so huge and popular for the first time.
This is all shit that Pat owns, by the way. I already know this. He just already happened to own all this crap from buying it at the swap meets for his flea market madness. Madness with Frank.
Time ever. You had video game merchandising on a grand scale.
In the 80s, Pac-Man was everywhere. He was on t-shirts, cereal boxes, mugs, glasses.
There was even a Pac-Man video game.
He got his own animated cartoon series. He even got...
That was mildly funny. There was even a Pac-Man video game. That was mildly funny.
A top 10 music single.
Pac-Man Fever.
Oh, Pac-Man Fever.
I got Pac-Man fever. Pac-Man fever. I'm going out of my mind. Going out of my mind. I got Pac-Man fever. Pac-Man fever. Going out of my mind. Going out of my mind.
This is so embarrassing right now, dude. This is some shit that, like, if this happened to be on and, like, your friends walked in, you'd change the thing and change it to something else, because, like, it'd just be too embarrassing for other people. And yet I got, like, well, I mean, I guess we're all watching it ironically, but whatever. This is quite, they're like spurging out and doing weird nerd noises with their mouths and weird things with their hands. It's very unsettling.
Pac-Man was considered the very first video game mascot, if you will. This is before Mario, before Donkey Kong, before Sonic, before Duke Nukem. I mean, you had Pac-Man in the early Duke Nukem. Isn't that the guy's name?
Pac-Man with the mouth open. That's like a universal icon for video games.
Dude. It's just kind of weird that you would throw in Duke Nukem with all these other...
Isn't his name like BJ No, that's Wolfenstein. Blazkowicz.
Pac-Man has gone through that
BJ
whole genre
Blazkowicz.
past Mario, and they're still making Pac-Man games, and they're making really good ones to this day.
Even 30 plus years later, everyone across the world.
Dude, Ian is being such a supportive girlfriend right now, just holding his man's stuff. And he's just, you know, just the 5th lesbian Beatle in this one. Love it. Love it. Love is love, man.
Virtually in the modern world knows who Pac-Man is. So you have what's called a franchise, video game franchise. Pac-Man was the first.
He's the Pac-Man.
All that stuff that Pat and Ian was holding, those are all replacements for an actual girlfriend for Pat. Because he mentioned on the CU podcast several times, I've brought this up several times, how on his podcast he talked about, I had a girl who was half naked in my bed, but I still had to go to the swap meet, you know, because I just wanted to get the deals. I didn't want to experience the FOMO over there. So I don't know why I gave him a Midwest accent just then, but whatever. Like, so instead of having a wife at this point in his life, he's got a bunch of these little tchotchkes that are getting riddled with moths and whatever else. Tiny spiders, perhaps. I don't know.
And he did it.
Welcome to Club Atari. What's your pleasure? Break out? Ah, here's something new. Circus Atari.
Cartridges, video chess, football. Cartridge, sir? Fez is here.
We meet again, Fez.
Yes, a little game of Space Invaders, perhaps? What shall we play for?
For fun, of course.
No other company offers you as many different video game cartridges as Atari.
Arcade break.
Monaco GP by Sega, a very early racing game.
The game sound effects are really kind of realistic, actually. You know, when you hear your car pass other cars, you hear the vroom.
The noise, the unrelenting noise was a bit of an annoyance.
The tachometer on the actual cabinet would actually rev up as the faster you go, which was really neat, and had light up dials and stuff like that.
It's awesome when they put actual electromechanical functions into arcade cabinets.
Yeah, I mean, and that was early. This is 80, and they're doing stuff like this.
You know, as far as racing games go, it's fine. You're weaving in and out on this road going by and trying to avoid crashing into other guys.
Have you played Atari today?
This is Andy Leonard at the 1980 Atari Games. Lots of excitement here. Stiff competition in basketball. They have the jump on Skydiver. The human can.
Those are some dope ass windbreakers. The Atari with the customized name on them with the stripes down the side. Those are pretty cool.
Ball can't miss.
Oh God, I'm becoming one of these nerds. Jesus.
This is where the key moment in video
Santa
games
Claus, he's back.
Is that you can have the greatest system in the world, but it's the game that people want, the killer app. That's what you have to have. You have a great system like the Sega Dreamcast. If you don't come up with a game, the people have to get that system. It can be great.
Yeah, PlayStation 5. What was your fucking killer app? Besides maybe like Spider-Man 2. What a disappointing console that was.
System people aren't going to buy it. It's not going to fly. So the Atari 2600, the problem was it was good. It had some great games and everything like that, but it didn't have that one that everybody wanted.
1980 is when it explodes. Boom!
And this was the boom year.
Why? Space Invaders. It gets Space Invaders, one of the biggest arcade games of all time, and certainly the biggest at the time, on a home console.
And for the first time, Space Invaders.
Like, we could play Space Invaders at home?
Oh my God, this guy really is like a Hal Sparks or something from I Love the 80s. Just ham it up, man. We got to make it entertaining. So hilarious.
So bringing that game over to North America was just, it ranks up there as like some of the smartest decisions ever made in video game history.
It quadrupled their sales, and it put Atari on the map as one of the fastest growing companies ever in the history of ever.
Suddenly, everybody's got to have an Atari, right? And the cool thing is, for Atari, that all of the games that they already had out, the current library, well, suddenly all these games are flying off the shelf now too. So games that have already been out and have already been sitting on the shelf suddenly start getting sold just because everybody now owns the Atari so they could play Space Invaders and they want some other games to play.
And now they're really starting to get their feet wet and putting out games. They had Adventure in 79, and they have some other fun games that came out in 80, like Fishing Derby, where you fish.
Bob Whitehead, who had pioneered making larger objects, like his boxers, stepped over and he said, you know, I could make you a shark for the top level. And that's what really turned it into a game, where the shark had like AI and he would go after your fish and you had to figure out a way to beat him.
And you have boxing, which is an overhead like this. It's like this.
It looks
Deal
like,
with me, Bean.
It looks like two crabs fighting.
Two
It's
crabs
basically
fighting.
what it is. Two angry crabs in a ring.
It basically was what won them.
Dude's already wearing a members only jacket, zipped up. He's already like getting into that peeping phase, because I think that's the first step when you're about to become a peeper. You start wearing members only jackets, zipped up. Pretty soon you got like fucking grease stains on there, haven't washed. You just have a lust that will not be satiated until you watch women use the toilet.
That first console war. Okay, that and Fishing Derby. See, it's little known fact. There's one guy that worked at Atari the whole time. It wasn't Nolan Bushnell, it was Mr. Atari. That's who the company was named after. And he was working in like this magical shop of wonders, and you know, someone would say, I would like to buy a game.
Windowless van.
And he
Yep,
would say,
windowless van is the
okay,
next
let me
step.
come up with the game. And he would you know, take his little pen and he would sketch out the circuit board and then wave a magic wand, and then poof, the circuit board would come alive with little magical elves that would ting, 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 conk, 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 and they would code in there the game itself to Mr. Atari specifications, and then after about 3 milliseconds, because elves work fast, man. Poof! They would have the game. There's the game right there, and he would, oh, Space Invaders! I shall still.
Oh, it's the same noise he made after he got his peeper tape, and he brought it home, and he gratified himself to it. That's his gratification noise.
This and make $1 trillion until Warner Communications buys me out and runs me into the ground. And that is the true story of Atari. Let no one else tell you different. What was I talking about?
Pinball of 1980.
Ian here with the popular pinball machines of
Oh God. Oh God. Well, let's hear from this guy, I guess. Jesus. Put the hoodie back on, man. I'm sorry I was making fun of you for that earlier. You need to go back on.
1980. Firepower by Williams, a classic Steve Ritchie playfield full of flow, a fake Death Star, and the first solid-state multi-ball.
All right, this is an actual legit question. So I've played pinball multiple times in my life, obviously. I played it kind of semi-recently. How is there... This might be a dumb question, and it probably is. How is there skill to pinball? To me, it feels so fucking random. Like, whether the ball falls between your two paddles, you can't really control that. It's gonna happen from time to time, right? Like, I don't know. Anytime I've tried playing pinball, it just seems like a random game of chance where you're shooting the ball up, and then sometimes you can catch it, sometimes it just falls right between the two paddles. Can somebody explain to me, like, what the I know there must be a trick or a skill to it. I've never been able to figure it out.
Xenon by Bailey. A great ramp shot, a beautiful machine, and it moans when you put quarters in. How can you beat that? Black Hole by Gottlieb. First ever use of a sunken, reversed playfield. And it
Oh, so you're supposed to tilt the pinball machine. You're supposed to move the actual table. I thought that was like you weren't. I thought they had alarms in there that would like go off if you tried to like tilt it.
breaks down all the time. And those were the popular pinball machines in 1980, because there's more to life than video games.
Oh, gotcha.
Atari, the leader in coin-operated video games, presents Centipede.
Centipede from Atari is a brilliant game in every possible way. For starters, it's a great-looking arcade machine. It's got a wonderful control scheme with the trackball and the fire button. It's a lot of fun, it's intense, and it never gets old. It's got that perfect arcade-style risk versus reward scoring system.
What I always thought was interesting about Centipede was that how smoothly it would keep transitioning.
Jen
Almost
Stowe
never enough. You'd have the short
coming in with the super
screen
chat. Thank
between
you.
when beat the
And
level,
thank
but all of a
you
sudden,
for becoming the
it
newest
restarts, just the color's
personalized
different.
video
You just
Patreon
keep
member,
going and
Jen.
going.
Instead of like
Came
a
in
whole fleet of
clutch.
ships or something that was coming at you, it was a centipede, a long centipede insect. And of course there were those little mushrooms scattered around the screen, and every time it would hit one of those, that would make it come down a level and start going.
Mushrooms played a big part in Centipede.
I never liked Mark Bussler's series. I watched it, and I guess he was one of the OG guys who did like a video game like show. Like I think he was one of the first, if I'm not mistaken. And I did watch it, and man, it was just so milquetoast. It was so boring. Like I guess if there was nothing but that, it would be worth watching. But like, this was when like I started off finding like AVGN on YouTube, and I was like, it was like the first like non like legacy like like G4 obviously. Like I saw that way before I saw AVGN. But AVGN was the first thing I saw on YouTube where I'm like, oh wow, this, for it being a YouTube show, this is actually like pretty funny and entertaining and informative. So then I start looking for like all these other people. Because like I saw him, I was like, there must be other people on here that's doing something like this. And Mark Bussler's Classic Game Room was one of the ones I tried watching. I just remember thinking like, wow, like AVGN really kind of cracked the mold for the angry reviewer thing. Because like that guy was just so boring. And then I watched Pat's channel because I saw the Nintendo NWC episode with Pat in it. And I thought, oh, well, Pat must be just as good as AVGN. So I went to Pat's channel. I tried to watch his channel. I was like, oh no, he is nowhere near as good. And so then I just stopped like trying. I just assumed that no one else out there was like, which I mean, probably rightfully so, because like there really like wasn't anybody in that like similar style in my opinion. Because I like, this was before like JonTron, or even like a Pro Jared, because I mean I kind of sort of liked his videos. Like James was like before all these motherfuckers, way before Scott the Woz. Scott the Woz probably wasn't even born yet, which not like I really like his stuff all that much anymore. I did at one point. Anyway, that's enough of Josh's reminiscing.
Shot away sections of the centipede, they'd turn into mushrooms that you could then blast out of the way. And if a scorpion poisoned a mushroom and a centipede ran into it, it would change their behavior.
No, I was also late to AVGN. It was like 2013 for me as well.
Donna Bailey. Now, Donna Bailey, of course, was one of the very few female video game designers at this time. So that was something kind of special for this. And just like Pac-Man before it, Centipedes.
You once again in 1980 start to see the broadening of the appeal of video games. It's not just teenage boys in darkly lit rooms anymore. These are things that everyone has some sort of interest.
Dude, Ian looks like the final boss of like game store employees. If there was like a game store simulator, like Ian would be the final boss.
In fact, females.
Damn, who was that bitch? She was hot.
Were very prominently playing Centipede. I don't know what it was about this game, but the ladies loved it.
Bailey used a lot of pastel colors in Centipede. Lime green, pink, orange, and a lot of women played Centipede. They were very attracted to the game. And some people think the use of pastel colors is the reason why.
So what exactly is the story for Centipede? I have no clue.
Dude, that's the guy with the jacked voice. He was on like the first or second one, and I never understood the whole weird McLovin vibe he's got going on. I guess there's a lot of guys like this in this world.
This little thing shooting these centipedes that are aliens. What are they exactly?
That's kind of what the cabinet art looked like. The centipedes look like these grotesque space mutant things. Centipedes are freaking gross anyway. Yeah.
The cover art for the Atari 5200 version and later versions of Centipede show a
They're just nerds.
young boy who looks
Doesn't-
like he's
it doesn't
in the
need to be
woods
that
with
deep,
some sort
Josh.
of wand.
From what I understand, you were supposed to be a little elf shooting magic out of a wand to protect your garden from centipedes.
Come on, we'll share your tomatoes and your celery. What the hell?
He's like Willow.
Yeah.
Sort of. Not really.
It's just a wonderful game. I'm gonna go play Centipede right now.
Centipede, you can't run away. You can't run away.
Arcade break.
Battlezone was a first-person vector-based tank simulator.
Kind of, in a way, a sequel to Tank, which was Key Game / Atari.
Essentially one of the, if not the first, kind of 3D looking games.
Much like Space Invaders, it uses colored gels to color the vector graphics.
There was different versions of this cabinet. The primary version had like almost a periscope type controls.
You're looking in the scope and you're just in this tank and you have to move around and fight another tank.
With the Battlezone arcade game, my least favorite part, while it was the coolest part, was the periscope mask thing. But it's also a place where you get to press your face into a disgusting zone where other pimply faced disgusting humans have pressed their
Yeah, and there was definitely some pus on those things. You need to come up with some cleaning wipes.
always kind of smelled like spit.
Ew!
And feet.
Battlezone was unique in that it depicted pretty
talking
realistic
about?
tank warfare. In fact, so realistic, the military wanted to use it for training purposes, and they actually got a version of the game developed for them.
I would hate to think that there was a generation of what would they be called? Tank commandos? I don't know. That sounds like a video gaming term. Hey, you tank commandos! Approach your battle zone machine. It's time for training. That's f***ing horrifying.
An adventure.
I like how they censor everything, like as if any TV network was ever gonna pick this show up. I mean, you might as well just have it uncensored. I mean, like, I think it's on like Tubi. Apparently, it was on Amazon Prime at one point, but there was no need to censor anything. You know, this was never gonna get picked up by like G4. G4 wasn't even like, it was pretty defunct at this point anyway. Tech TV, whatever. Like, no one was gonna pick this show up. It just looked too amateur. It didn't meet the standards. I mean, it wasn't that it was like complete garbage. Like, it was close, but it just still looked kind of like a glorified YouTube show.
Beyond your wildest imagination, Sierra Online introduces a whole new dimension in software entertainment.
Sierra Online, 19...
Shooting from the hip, favorite Primus song. I gotta say Lacquerhead, man. I just really like that one a lot. It's got such a cool groove and on that bass solo, and I don't know. I like Lacquerhead.
80, the breakout year, founded by a couple, 2 people only, Ken and Roberta Williams.
There's so many great
Sierra
Primus
Blanc
songs, though.
become
It's
the
like hard to
largest
choose just one.
computer game company.
Now, Ken Williams, the founder of the company, was actually working on a Fortran compiler for the Apple II home computer. And when he wasn't doing that, his wife Roberta was playing text adventures on the thing. A woman after my own heart.
The company that made them online systems later went on to become Sierra Online, so they were sort of a big deal.
Their first major release as online was Mystery House.
where you were in a house with mystery, a Victorian house, which they're all mysterious, so kind of redundant house.
Which is an Infocom style text adventure, but it actually.
Oh, did they just show LGR, Lazy Game Reviews? I used to watch the shit out of that guy's channel for like a year or two, and then I just never watched him again. I liked his Goodwill videos. Everything else he did was boring as fuck, but I liked his pickup videos when he went to the Goodwill. Man, I forgot all about LGR.
Actually has graphics.
Visuals!
Right.
And at some point or another, she realized, hey, why the crap don't these...
Is that him? Is that Clint? Damn. That is what we call a neck beard. He looks a lot different than he did when I watched him. I liked him better with the short hair and not the Amish. Well, he's got the mustache, so it's not really Amish, but they got that really long under beard thing. I don't know what that is.
These things have graphics. Text adventures, graphics, Apple II, graphics. Makes sense, but nobody was doing it.
Mystery House and Wizard and the Princess both were sort of the first graphical adventures that's debated on the internet. Please don't write me letters.
You can see the room, and no longer are you limited to your boring old imagination, but you can actually see the pictures as you progress.
And there was a murderer in the house killing people. That's what murderers do, one by one. So it's your job to make sure that the murderer doesn't kill everyone. Find out who they are. Do all that gumshoe stuff.
Now, I'm going to admit I don't like Sierra games that much because they're very rooted in a specific time in the computer gaming era where the point of a computer game was to hurt you, to challenge you, to leave you stumped for a long period of time. And it started with Mystery House, which wasn't that difficult, but eventually Sierra spawned an entire legacy of very difficult games.
To me, the greatest thing about Sierra is that Mystery House was very influential, according to the creators of Dragon Quest, in creating Dragon Quest.
And then they went on to do The Wizard and the Princess, which added color, and they very quickly realized that graphics would be a selling point to a large chunk of their audience.
Where there was a kingdom of Serenia, and the princess had been stolen, taken away, off somewhere. You're a random passerby who was chosen to be valiant and brave and all that good stuff because everybody else in the kingdom sucked.
Adults at the time were probably more likely willing to do something like Infocom, right? Read user adventures like a book. But to kids, to anyone younger who is getting into computers, the wow factor of the graphics combined with the ease of like navigating something you can actually see quickly put them on the map.
It was actually the precursor to the King's Quest games, which really got Sierra popular.
This is what Sierra gave to the gaming world. This cannot be overlooked. Adventure games, graphic adventure games, and these would, dominate the computer gaming market for the next 15 years. Space Quest, King's Quest, Police Quest.
I'm not even gonna imagine a world without this game. It's sad.
So that's very important that they had the first graphics in a computer game, and that cannot be understated. How
Thanks,
important that
TJ
was.
Actual
was a
One.
company at first.
Good guy, Sierra.
Arcade break.
Berserk.
Berserk was legit, okay? Like, I remember playing this game and it was
Dude looks like Tim Heidecker.
crazy hard.
You walk around, you shoot robots, and you progress to the next room.
Arm goes like that.
Yeah.
Enemy robots could kill each other by shooting each other, running into each other, or just running into walls. Dumb AI, but it was really funny and actually really helpful to the player.
I like how you had some sort of decision to go and, you can go right into a room or down, so it wasn't totally linear. So that was cool.
Lanier? Lanier? Like my friend Michael Lanier in middle school? It wasn't totally linear? You mean linear? Idiot.
Someone freaking fire at you and it's like, give me a second, man. I gotta get adjusted to my surroundings.
It's got one of the best video game bad guys ever created, Evil Otto, who bounces at you with a smile on his face.
You spent too long on the stage, he'd come hopping out. And it wasn't even like a long period of time. Sometimes it felt like you were on the stage for 5 seconds and that bloody thing comes hopping out.
Also really love...
Ooh, that was a hard Canadian oat right there. Jesus Christ. You just revealed yourself, my friend. I thought you were American until I heard that. Now I know. That was a hard oot.
Of the voices in the game, like the destroy the humanoid.
Intruder alert, and humanoid must not escape have been sampled in so many electronic music songs that I can never forget Berserk.
Charge. Intruder. Attack. Kill. Humanoid.
Intruder alert, intruder must not escape.
And Berserk
sounded kind of cool. I could see why people would sample that.
isn't usually talked about in the pantheon of arcade games, but it's one of the classics. It is.
And it did spawn a sequel, Frenzy.
Okay.
Ian's still looking at his boyfriend for confidence and approval. Jesus, he just can't break himself of this.
We might talk about that a couple of years down the line.
That's why I'm not saying anything else about it.
We probably won't, but it's probably not it's probably not important enough to, but we'll see.
It still has Evil Otto.
Okay.
Now it's time for the other arcade games of 1980.
Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is the other arcade games of 1980. Crazy Climber, Taito's skyscraper climbing game, and the precursor to the platformer genre. Armor Attack, the vector graphics tank and helicopter shooter. Extra Bases, Midway's trackball baseball game. Star Castle, it's a monochrome vector-based game that got its colors from plastic transparent screen overlays. So there you go, guys. That's the other arcade games of 1980. Hope you got a pocket full of quarters.
Continue.
Another company that was founded in 1980, very influential, is Broderbund. Broderbund? I'm still not exactly sure how to pronounce it, with that O with the thing in the thing.
And the company was actually called Bruderbund internally to begin with, even though it eventually became known as Broderbund because it sounds better. It doesn't sound like some sort of weird cummerbund beer mixture. Bruderbund.
All I know is that for most of my life I pronounced it Borderbound.
Who cares? Who cares how you pronounce
Broderbund was
it?
started by brothers
Just talk
Doug and
about
Gary
other things.
Carlston in Eugene, Oregon.
Broderbund, they now had something called like strategy games that they were big on.
Now, the first of their games was Galactic Empire, one of Doug's games that he developed as a lawyer and released in 1980, originally for the TRS-80 microcomputer from Radio Shack.
The company started out with Galactic Empire, and then later was known for a lot of its kind of educational series, or at least thought-provoking series.
It was a real-time strategy space empire game where the goals were pretty modest. You just take over the entire friggin' universe within 999 years, you know. No big deal, just take over everything that exists.
Broderbund sounds like a piece of...
Oh, now we got McLovin, who... I don't know, does he spend, like, the whole night... Like, he knows they're gonna, like, record the next day, but he spends the whole night just, like, drinking and smoking and, like, screaming at his girlfriend or vagrants on the street just at the top of his lungs. And so when he comes in, his voice sounded like fucking jacked up. Like he just spent all night smoking crack and yelling at people.
Clothing, like, oh shit, my Broderbund is showing.
Or it's something that could potentially be riddled with tumors.
Yes.
I remember when I was a kid, Sun Tzu's Ancient Art of War, where you had your units, you
God, every time I fucking see Ian on this episode, I just, imagine there's no heaven, ba-na-na-na, even if you can. Imagine all the people living life. I would literally get copyright if I keep singing that, believe it or not.
controlled how their formations you controlled. You had barbarians, you had archers or knights, you had fortresses, and so they expanded the idea of a game.
Dr. Scholl's makes something for Broderbunds.
Carmen Sandiego, the whole Carmen Sandiego.
I want to see. It'd be fucking hilarious to see Rue do one of these interviews, and it's like, you know, it's like those little like visiting stations in jail where you have to pick up the phone, and then the other person has to pick up the phone, and like they're just recording them behind that, and he's just on the phone with like the shitty phone frequency or whatever, and like that's how they're having to interview him because like he's already in jail for the peeper thing. That would be funny.
Diego series is probably what it's most famous for developing, although it also published Myst and Riven.
Galactic Empire was followed shortly by Galactic Trader and Galactic Revolution, which was actually the precursor to the 4X subgenre of strategy games. So yeah, you have games that came later like Master of Orion that owe a heck of a lot to the Galactic series of games.
Sadly, Broderbund was bought by the Learning Company in 1998, and then through a series of unfortunate events, wound up having its workforce slashed in half by the Learning Company, and then got bought, and then they got bought, and then bought, and now basically all of the Broderbund assets are under the Ubisoft umbrella. So, vive la France, I guess.
Next stage.
Oh, I do remember playing Missile Command. From the beginning of time, we had our Windows 95. Like, ever since, like, CD-ROMs, even before that, floppy disks or whatever, they would have, like, the 4 to 6 to 7 games on one disc. It'd be, like, old shit like this. It'd be Missile Command, it'd be Pac-Man, Dig Dug, Battle Tanks, Galactica, Galaxian, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, on the Windows 95, I remember playing Missile Command. I remember liking that one more than the your typical run-of-the-mill old-ass games from this time period. I remember liking Missile Command.
Missile Command. A game where you command missiles, you do not ask them politely. Missiles simply do not respond to polite requests. You have to command them, and the designer of the game, Dave Toyer, knew this.
Missile Command, in my opinion, is probably, safe to say, Mike, hit me if I'm wrong, the first survival horror game. Pretty much right.
I mean, it was the first game that arguably dealt with the conflict in the 80s between the Soviet Union and the United States.
I know when I played the game, I pictured the bad guys as the Russians.
Yeah.
The original levels in Missile Command were supposed to represent 6 cities in California.
Well, that was the original intent anyway.
The original intent, right.
While the game's designer Dave Toyer was creating the game, he was haunted by nightmares of major cities being nuked, just like in the game. Let's hope it was just a nightmare and not a premonition.
I actually played the game first on the Atari 2600, and all of that bleak war stuff based in reality was gone. I mean, you had like Zardon and Krytal, sci-fi alien planets that were warring with each other. Who wants that, man?
Each city had its own individual stock of missiles, and you had to calculate who's going to hit missile first, and this and that.
Bombarding us with nuclear missiles, and it's only me, only me and a trackball.
And then those bloody things that would go beep beep beep, flash down from the top, and never hit those stupid things.
You just have to think quick if you want to stay on top of things. It's essentially, you can't win the game. It's to see how far you can go.
It's fast-paced. It's very colorful. The graphics on it, just the shots of the missiles going.
Why does Pat's voice always sound like he just shoved like 10 like marshmallows in his mouth? His voice just always, or it sounds like someone who vapes and they're exhaling and they're talking at the same time. It just sounds like your mouth's like full of like grapes or marshmallows in it or something. Why does Pat talk like that? Why, I ask.
Up. There's some strategy involved. Which silo you're going to shoot at to hit what? There's missiles that split apart when they come down. Oh, I love it. It's very difficult but very fun.
Missile Command's controlled with the trackball. Now, I know I've complained a lot about trackballs in the past, but it actually makes sense to me in this game. Anytime you got to move a cursor around, I'd prefer a trackball to a joystick. Moving a cursor around with a joystick is like using an Etch-a-Sketch to draw anything really.
The thing that really sticks with me about Missile Command is that if you're in one of those enclosed cabinets where you're sitting down and it's just really dark, you can only come in the one side and the other side's closed off, and you have the speakers right here.
There's no music. It's just the imminent threat of you not able to save all of these various cities from being completely vaporized.
You feel like you're in like a Cold War bunker, and World War III is raining down upon you. And it's your job to stop the Soviets from decimating your country.
My favorite appearance of Missile Command of all time in pop culture is when Eddie Furlong plays it in the arcade in Terminator 2.
Yes.
Before he
Oh, I thought I was going to say American History X. I'm like, whoa, edgy movie to bring up.
plays Afterburner.
Yeah, which is a better game, arguably.
My favorite part of Missile Command is losing because it's got the best ending screen ever. It just says the end, and it's bright and red and goes and it's global thermonuclear war, and it's awesome.
Now that's how you say hasta la vista, baby.
Rogue. Yeah, one of the few games to have an entire genre named after it. It's like Primus. You know, they're the band, like what kind of genre?
Primus, much like the shirt that I'm wearing right now. My God, it's like seeing into the future, Mark.
Are they? They're Primus, man. You can't describe them as anything else. Rogue? Yeah, they're rogue-likes.
I will say Clint was the first one to actually bring up a band, or I believe, in this whole series so far that I've watched, and a good band at that.
We call them
well, actually, Primus sucks. Who are we kidding?
platformers. We don't call them Super Mario RPGers. Likes.
Rogue is basically the granddaddy of all hack and slash and dungeon crawling games.
It was kind of like an action RPG using ASCII characters, ASCII art, you know, which is a great throwback.
ASCII?
I just love that.
What's that mean?
All text. Everything from your character to the monsters to the corridors are represented by various ASCII characters and letters and numbers.
But there was this whole random element, the procedurally generated dungeons and the fighting and the monsters and everything.
Anytime you played the game again, there was going to be a set of randomly designed levels. So it was different every single time.
It was the perfect alternative for a dork who couldn't D&D with his friends on a game night. He could load the game up and the computer would play Dungeon Master for him.
Roguelikes, that's one of those terms that really hasn't died out.
Games like Diablo, hugely influenced by Rogue. Phantasy Star Online, Monster Hunter.
Heck yeah, Rogue, being awesome, ahead of the curve, roguelike.
Arcade break.
Tempest. Actually, this is the game my brother used to play constantly in the arcades. I used to follow him in the arcades and watch him play Tempest.
The Tempest cabinet itself was beautiful. The purple colors, it was almost like blacklit almost. It was just really nice, and that's one of the machines I always wanted to own, was a Tempest machine.
Tempest was initially designed to be a first-person perspective.
Don't you own enough stuff, Pat? Did you really want to own a Tempest arcade? Don't you own enough crap? I mean, haven't we all seen that fucking video he did on his, like, all the crap he owns? It's an old video, so I'm sure he owns even more crap. But it's like, don't you have enough stuff? And you live alone. It's like a hoarding thing at this point.
Space Invaders.
And it was also one of the first games to use Atari's new vector color display, which was huge at the time, and is a big component to that game, because one of the neatest things about that game is the damn color in that game. It looks really cool.
All right, RFK Jr., I'm done hearing your voice.
Like 3D and the way the colors moved, and I just didn't even hardly know how to play the game. I just like to see it move around. So I'm not even sure. I couldn't even tell you how to play the game or what the object was.
You're a little geometric shape.
Your ship.
Your ship.
In space, probably.
Cool space, though. Tunnel space.
Sweet space, yes.
And you spin around in a circle, and you shoot at enemies that come at you. 3D that come at you.
And it also uses a spinner.
That's right. A dial spinner. You just whip that bad boy and go around the tubes.
It was probably, when you think about vector-based games, that Tempest really took advantage of it fully, because you had great color, true 3D, and it was a blast. It's just unfortunate that, no console or computer at the time could handle a port of the game.
Now, the gaming innovation of 1980.
Oh, hello. This is Rue for the gaming innovation of 1980. What new technology graced the world and changed the face of gaming forever? Space Panic was made by Universal, and is generally considered the first platform game. In it, you had a little man in red scrambling up and down ladders in order to avoid aliens. While not the most popular arcade game, one could certainly see the potential. Maybe by adding a jumping mechanic or a big monkey. That does it for the gaming innovation of 1980. Be sure to come back.
He literally threw a blazer over his members-only jacket over his undershirt. I mean, the signs were all there, and you all ignored them.
Back for 1981, and don't forget, it's not just nostalgia, it's science. Oh look, I solved it.
Now the forgotten video games of 1980.
Pat here bringing you the forgotten video games of 1980. Steelworker, Taito's cute survival puzzle game. Targ, XCD's gaudy maze shooter.
This is the first poll that I've ever done in the chat where it was 100% yes and not a single person said no. Would the chat fucking work with? Okay, yeah. Pat and Ian sleep on a bunk bed, and Pat sleeps on top and wets the bed, and it drips down to Ian. 100% of people, yes, yes, not a single no. That's the first time that has ever happened when I've done one of these polls. Motherfucker. Based ass chat.
Which made people's eyes bleed. Space Trek, Sega's shooter that ripped off every space franchise in existence. And Radar Scope, a failed space shooter put out by Nintendo, who soon left the video game market forever. And those were the forgotten video games of 1980. Just because you don't remember them doesn't mean they weren't fun.
Next level.
Game Watch. Game Watch. Game Watch. Game Watch. It's a demo Game Watch. Don't demo Game Watch. Got a demo Game Watch. Game Watch.
The Game & Watch series of games were created by Gunpei Yokoi, who is most famous for creating the Game Boy.
Yep.
He's not famous for creating the Virtual Boy.
He came up with the idea for the Game & Watch when he was on a Shinkansen or Japanese bullet train and he saw a businessman that was just bored playing with their LCD calculator. He decided to come up with a device that would not only tell the time.
I was going to say, it did sound like they were saying gay watch. I was going to mention that, and then when somebody else mentioned it, I was like, all right, now I'm going to mention it. Gunpei Yokoi. Gunpei sounds like the noise when you drop a stone into like water. It's like bloop. Gunpei. That's what I always thought it sounded like. Jesus. I wish I could cut to my sidekick right now and have them rescue me from that comment, but I don't have a sidekick and I can't cut to anything, so that comment's just gonna live out there. Yeah, you got the Wonder Swan, you got the Game Boy, which I'm sure they will cover. I know for a fact they do. Sadly, Virtual Boy. And even though he brought all that success and business to Nintendo, they still gave him they still blackballed him after he came out with the Virtual Boy, sadly. And then he died in like a car accident. Jesus. No good. I think that's how like Japanese work culture went back then. I don't know if it's changed, but I think that's how it was. You're only as good as your most recent success. Actually, that's kind of how it works here too.
But allow you to kill time by playing video games at the same time.
You have to understand, in the 1980s, digital watches were becoming huge, right? Like everybody was wearing digital watches with the liquid crystal display readouts. So he looked at that and he thought, this exact same technology as it is right now could totally be a gaming system, and we can make little handheld video games out of this.
It's very small, very sleek. So it's very lightweight, you can carry it in your pocket.
First one was just one screen, a little LCD screen, black and white, that you'd play on. And then they had multiple screens on them, etc.
Very simple, your left and right buttons. You select your game A, game B, different modes for your game, and then of course you've got your clock settings. So you can set your alarm, you can set your time.
Each one contains one game and a watch with an alarm built into it. So you can technically put this on your bedside table and have it go off in the morning.
Not sure if anyone ever did that, by the way. I'm not sure anyone did that.
I don't know anyone who ever did.
Even the design of the games themselves, I mean, they created the D-pad.
He's like, okay, well, if we have this thing shaped like a cross, and then you push on it with your thumb, and that's going to control the character just like a joystick, but it's going to work, in tandem with this portable gaming device. And that's where we got the D-pad from. So many really, really interesting innovations happening at that time, just out of total necessity.
So Nintendo really raised the bar when it came to handhelds. First you had the LEDs, you had by companies like, Coleco.
A blip.
Or Mattel.
You imagined it.
And then all of a sudden, now it's like you can see characters on here. You can see animation, rudimentary, but it's there.
We used to have like the Mattel little LED light games, and then someone walks in to school with one of those.
That's like a kid with a Neo Geo.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was like.
The gaming watches were released in series, the first being the Silver Series, and the very first game in the Silver Series, and the very first Game & Watch ever made was called Ball.
It's ingenious in its simplicity. It's just a guy juggling balls. Get your mind out of the gutter.
So there's tons of these different games. Some of my favorites would be Octopus and Parachute. I love the dual screen Zelda one. It's legitimately still fun to.
I bet Ian would rather play one of these like Game & Watches than he would like a DS, like a modern like handheld. I've listened to too much of the CU podcast just to know this guy's like archetype. Like he would probably like defend like, actually the Game & Watch is a lot more fun than the Nintendo DS. It's I prefer it personally. I prefer playing a Game & Watch over a DS.
I have it on my bedside table, not as an alarm, but I just pick it up and I play it.
Yeah, when you look at the Zelda Game & Watch, it literally looks like a DS. I mean, they brought back the dual screens, and it was definitely a throwback to the early Game & Watches.
シガレットケース No! ゲームウォッチマルチスクリーン上下2つのスクリーンで1つのゲーム下から上へ上から下へマルチに展開ドンキーコング
Game & Watch was very prolific in Japan, and there were a lot of different variations. I mean, from the dual screen versions to the single screen versions to even transparent versions that you could see through, and larger tabletop versions as well.
And before they had their own console in the US, your exposure to characters like Donkey Kong or the Mario Brothers, if it wasn't in an arcade, the only way to see them was on a Game & Watch. So that can't.
Believe it or not, I donated 10 of my dollars to Ian's tummy ache fund back in the day. I remember when that happened, I felt bad for the guy. I thought he had something seriously wrong with him. And he supposedly reluctantly started some kind of a GoFundMe or something. And yeah, I kicked in $10 because I was like, I enjoy this podcast at this point in time and history, and I remember Pat hosting it by himself and for like a month or more. And then Ian eventually came back and was just as cunty as ever.
Understated either.
These were a huge success for Nintendo. This got them started into really focusing on video games.
And what it turned out was it was a great opportunity for them to develop the channel with all the distribution channel with the consumer marketers in the US, so that when the NES came along, the 8-bit system, they already had a relationship that was ready to go.
It led to the development of more arcade games.
This LCD video game was so successful that, of course, some of these other companies started getting in on the mix. And later on down the line, we started seeing companies like
Ian did one sit-up at the gym and was down for months recovering.
Single-game
Perhaps.
handheld LCD video games.
Gunpei Yokoi is the man who really revolutionized the way handheld
I think that's the one picture they have of Gunpei Yokoi.
Gaming.
Okay, the two pictures they have of him, my bad.
Would be for 30 plus years.
It's technical genius.
And sadly, Gunpei Yokoi died in a tragic car accident in the late 90s. So though he's gone, his legacy lives on.
Arcade break.
Was he about to cry just then?
Warlords has to be one of my favorite Atari arcade games of all time. It's a mix between Breakout and Quadrupong.
You have up to 4 players in 4 corners of the screen, and you defend your castle with basically a pong paddle.
You would kind of volley what was supposed to be, I believe, a fireball from a dragon, back and forth, and you
What the fuck game is this? I've never even heard of this game.
would break each other's walls to eventually get to the center of each castle, and once that center was hit, that player would be out of the game.
There's two different arcade cabinets that came out for it. The first one, the more common one, is a sit-down cocktail Warlords arcade
Ian's
cabinet.
getting
Really
it
cool.
tonight,
the second
man.
one is a stand-up one. The stand-up is one of my favorite ones because it appears almost in 3D. Atari did a really cool job of reflecting the image off of a mirror, and the reflection would actually make the image appear in 3D. Very, very cool.
It reminds me of like an early, very simple version of Rampart. It's something, you know, very simple to get behind.
And really, when you think about Pong or Breakout games that aren't Pong or Breakout, there's only two you really think of. You think of Arkanoid and you think of Warlords.
Next level.
Infocom really got started because of Zork.
You had a bunch of guys at MIT, including most famously Mark Blank, Dave Liebling, who coded this game over the course of 3 years, finally ready to come out in 1980.
During development, they were calling the game Zork because at MIT it was just a hacker slang term for an unfinished program, so it was a Zork as it was being developed.
They initially programmed it on a PDP-10 mainframe computer. Huge game on this mainframe computer at MIT. But in 1980, they were ready to distribute to the world, to the personal computers out there. But the game was too big.
Even though it had this virtual memory system that was really revolutionary, it still wasn't enough to plop the whole game onto one single floppy disk for home PCs like the TRS-80 and the Apple II and such. So they split the game up from the beginning as Zork 1, 2, and 3.
Zork was kind of derivative from the original interactive fiction game. By interactive fiction, I mean text on a screen, telling you a story, and it's an adventure, and you it's almost like a choose your own adventure.
Text adventures were nothing new at this point. When Zork came out, there was Adventure, Colossal Cave.
Infocom, which came out with Zork and all the other Zorgs, and a bunch of other interactive fiction games. That's what Infocom was known for.
All right, mates. Gotta take my first pee of the night. First pee, best pee. Be right back. All right. Let's see what else they have to say.
Or interactive fiction.
They also had an incredible text parser that would let you use almost complete sentences. So instead of hit Pat, it could be hit Pat with mighty fist, and it would understand it.
Zork was a blockbuster. Okay, you had games like Ultima or Wizardry that sold dozens of thousands of copies, and they were huge. Zork, by the mid-'80s, had sold hundreds of thousands of copies. That's unheard of.
They were the masters of the text adventure. I mean, they started out with games like Zork, and then took the text adventure out of the realm of fantasy into just every single genre imaginable. You know, you name it, whether it was things like, you know, Suspect, which was a murder mystery kind of thing, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Wow, this is boring.
Adult titles like Leather Goddesses of Phobos. So kind of like a
All right, I guess be thinking in the back of your mind. It's got like 5 minutes left. Are we gonna watch the Matei reviewing Pat's N64 book? I guess I could just do a poll, couldn't I? Yeah, I'll just do a poll.
Text adventure.
Yeah, so they had a 10-year run where they were just pumping these babies out.
When Infocom got big and started to box their titles, they loaded them full of cool stuff.
Yes.
They called them feelies.
Like, so if you got, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you got all these little manuals and scraps of paper, and sometimes there were actual items, like in Zork Trilogy, there was a Zork Mid coin, an actual coin out of metal that they cast, and they included in every copy of the game.
Leather Goddesses of Phobos actually has some scratch and sniff cards. One of them, if I remember correctly, is pleather, which is pretty hilarious.
The idea was, okay, well, you've got a text adventure, you've got to use your imagination for these graphics, but let's give people something out of the world of the game, some piece of thing brought out of the fiction that they can hold in their hands. And of course, you needed them to play the game, but something, that they can hold in their hands that would sort of like enhance the feeling of being in this world.
You always got good writing, and you got really high quality programming at the time.
By the way, yes and no are not valid answers on this poll, but they won't let me delete those. So anybody who answered yes or no is mentally restarted, or regarded something that rhymes with that. I don't remember.
You couldn't beat them for adventure games.
It was like a supernova. It was, shining really brightly and then just petered out.
The biggest thing to take away from the whole Zork experience is to stay the frick out of the dark.
It is pitch black. You are likely to be eaten by a grue.
They're awful. They're gonna eat you and such. You were likely to be eaten by a grue.
May the force be with you only gets you so far.
The fuck are they talking about right now?
You are likely to be eaten by a grue to get to that sub-geek level. Then you get your pocket
exactly. What to
protector
watch next?
and
Yes, of
your
course.
Rubik's Cube. That's how it works.
Arcade break.
It's a maze game, a lot like Pac-Man. And the difference is you weren't confined to a single screen. The maze actually scrolled.
The point of Rally X was to collect flags and avoid rocks and drunk drivers.
The interesting thing about Rally X, despite the fact that it's just bright, colorful, and kind of fun to play, is it's kind of an early usage of radar. There's actually a radar on the screen that shows you where flags, and I believe the special flag will show you where the cars are.
One of the very first games to feature bonus rounds, where essentially you had to capture all the flags before your opponent did.
Or as it was called, a challenging stage. Come on, challenging?
Racism!
2 R's.
And it also had background music, which was unheard of at the time.
It's a really solid game in its own right, but they put it out the same year they put out Pac-Man.
When they saw that Pac-Man had gone on to be the best-selling game of all time, they must have been amazed. I'm sorry.
Insert coin.
Sometimes I'll go over at lunch and start playing the games and miss a class after lunch or something.
Do you think that video games are going to be here to stay, or are they just a fad that's going to go away?
They'll be here to stay. I think they're going to be around for a long time. Because they say we're living in a space age, and these games are space age.
1980 was almost this sort of defining year for the rise of arcades.
Between 1980 and 1982, video game arcades had doubled in size, the peak having 13,000 video game arcades in North America alone.
I mean, arcades in the late...
Oh god, they're gonna cover the fucking video game crash. Ugh. They're gonna cover that, because that happened in 80-something, 83, 84. That was such a boring fucking topic I've heard about a million times, but maybe you haven't. And we'll get to it, because God knows I don't have anything else to stream, so.
Late 70s were...
Speaking of which, man, this poll is neck and neck here.
Sort of counterculture, sort of, not the underbelly of society, but kind of the younger groups.
Beforehand, they were seedy. You didn't know exactly where to go. You might get stabbed in the face.
Touch of bodily fluid.
When they started in the early 80s, especially 1980,
all right, I'm ending the poll in 30 seconds, so get your votes in if you've not voted.
there were not like these scummy pool halls or anything like that. They were lights and loud noises and people generally having a great time.
Not buying drugs.
Yes.
With games like Centipede, Pac-Man, Galaxian, all of a sudden you have these colorful games, and now it appeals to everyone, not just adults, now kids too.
But I would just remember loving this handful of change and going there and playing those games.
And as it dwindles, you get happier and happier for some reason. Even when it's gone, you're like, this is time that I don't need to get back.
It's hard not to just, romanticize the idea of walking into a dark arcade and hear all the machines making their sounds, the pinball machines, the arcade machines.
They had like the stand-up arcade units, and they had the cocktail cabinets, which were...
Oh, the Matei review won by a landslide. Are you kidding me? 54% to 37%. And then the few restarts who voted yes and no.
The tabletop ones, which were awesome, because that one you could actually sit comfortably and play.
You like video games? You like drinking? Put them together. Get a cocktail cabinet. It's got tempered glass so you can put your drink right on the game.
Cocktail cabinets were really good for multiplayer games because the screen would switch sides for whoever's turn it was, and each player could sit on either side of the cabinet, and they were really slick looking.
You started to see cocktail tables in the fronts of restaurants and things like that. More people were exposed to games outside of arcades.
It works a whole lot better than putting your drink on an iPad. I learned that the $800 way.
Okay, enough of that shit. All right, so we got Mike Matei's review, I guess, of Pat's Nintendo 64 guidebook. I don't see how this is going to be interesting, and I believe it's a little bit on the long end here, which means I might be doing some skipping around. But overwhelmingly, that's what people wanted to see, so that's what we'll do. Which is fine, because I just literally made a video about the Kyle Justin thing. I will just say it wasn't a stroke. That's all I'll say. And don't ask me anything else about it. It wasn't a stroke or anything like that about the Kyle Justin thing. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Some people kind of figured it out in the comments, but again, literally now that's all I'm saying.
Hi.
Okay, well, we got modern day creepy looking Mike Matei with a picture of Pat and a tinier one of James, and then Inspector Gadget, because he's just totally leaned into the memes at this point. Never seen this before. What the fuck? It's 33 minutes long. Will not be watching this whole thing. Most likely, will be scanning. Yeah, I imagine it's boring, but this is what everyone wants to watch, so that's what we're gonna watch, I guess.
I'm Mike Matei, and I can't read. But regardless of that, we're gonna be checking out the Ultimate Nintendo Guidebook today. I want to say that before there's a little reflections area, which is all I was reading last time I did this, and there's actually a full article. Now the full article is really long, and like I said, I can't read and don't like to read, so
I love how Mike is keeping it old school. He's keeping it like circa like 2009, 2008 YouTube, with the horrible audio and the B, horrible lighting. Like, this guy is as old as James, and he's been around James, and he's seen how James lights the scene and lights the room or whatever. And yet, when he's just on his own, it's like, oh, let me just do any old fucking thing, whatever, who cares? Why put any production value into it whatsoever? Why make my life hard at all? Let's just keep this. Man, Mike is looking weird. This lighting is not flattering to him and his various features. He's got this weird cleft butt nose thing going on. I don't know, man. Shadows can contort the face in various ways, and this is not flattering to Mike. God damn. Anyway, let's get through this.
I wasn't reading that. I was only reading the little reflections part of it, and the reflections isn't the full review. what this guy should have done? He should have played the.
Oh my god, he actually had good audio there. Okay, so for this video, he was just like, whatever the fuck, I don't care anymore.
Game. So I'm stupid, and was kind of reading the book the wrong way. So this time we're gonna try to read it the right way, but that also might not go well because, like I said, I can't read. But before we begin, I'd like you to go over to ultimatenintendo.com and use promo code MikeCan'tRead because I can't read, and get yourself $5 off this fantastic book.
Why is he shilling so hard for Pat right now? Why is there a bubble in my throat right now? Yeah, he is shilling hard for some Pat Contry.
And don't forget, Mike can't read. All right, let's get started. So recently I played through on stream Donald Duck Going Quackers, and there's a whole article in here, so I wanted to read what they had to say about that. This time I'm actually going to read the review and the reflections. So let's see how that goes. The dynamic Donald Duck fights throughout Duckburg.
Hold on, man. If this video is just him reading shit from the book, I won't be able to. I will not be able to do it. I'll give this a little bit of a chance, but I will not be able to do this. This is why I instinctually knew this was going to be a boring video. That's why I didn't do a whole stream based on this video and the Kyle Justin thing or whatever the fuck. I knew this shit was going to be boring as fuck. And I think I'm being proven right.
Defeat the dastardly Murloc, stop his devilish cohorts, and rescue the delightful Daisy in this colorful 3D platformer. Donald can double jump, punch, kick, and fight off an array of cartoonish enemies as he traverses 4 worlds of 5 levels each, accessed from a central hub. The level perspectives alternate between a behind-the-back 3D view and side-scrolling. The main objective in each world is to collect 4 boss tiles from each of the 4 immediately accessible levels. See, okay, I think this is maybe a little bit different than the one that I played because this is an N64 book, and I actually played the PlayStation version of the game. I wonder if Pat would do a PlayStation 1 book, actually.
Of course he would.
There's a lot of PlayStation games.
He's only doing Nintendo shit, dude. Come on, you already know this. If he did a PlayStation, dude, you know how fucking big that library is for PS1 and PS2? No. N64 is a lot more digestible of a library. Surprised he even did the NES and SNES, but I mean that's kind of his brand, so of course he's gonna do that. But no, he's never gonna do a fucking Sony PlayStation Ultimate guy. That Pat will never do that.
That would be a hefty book, but maybe he'll make that someday. That would be cool, actually. Oh, and you know what? I was thinking, what if he does a Philips CDI book? How many CDI games are there?
Yeah, I saw the
Donald
Kino Casino
will face
thing.
off against Bernadette the Bird, not to be confused with Birdie the Early Bird, the Beagle Boys, Magica Dispel, and finally Daisy Duck's kidnapper, the Wicked Murloc. Donald can only take 2 hits before starting from his last checkpoint, and his mood displays his current health. The first hit makes him go berserk, after which he stalks around looking furious. You see why I didn't read all this the other time? It's because there's a lot of information over here, actually. So I was going the easy route and just reading the like little reflections thing because I don't like to read. But let's continue. Also found in the levels are milkshakes, which put Donald into hyper mood, giving him the super strength to knock enemies
There's
out
no
of his
way
way
anybody's
for 10
enjoying
seconds.
this.
In addition to the goal of defeating the boss, Donald must recover his nephew's stolen toys. There's 3 of these in each level. To seek to rescue Daisy, Gladstone Gander has already preceded Donald through each world. And I think, honestly, from playing it, I think Gyro Gearloose did too, because before Donald, there's all kinds of mechanical devices as you go through, like mechanical floating platforms and stuff. And it's like, who would make all those mechanical floating platforms? I don't think Murloc would do that. I think it was Gyro. So
dude, he looks so creepy in this lighting. My God, he looks like old man Jenkins, the creepy fucking pedophile. I don't know, man. I'm not saying he is by any means, but like, God, he looks weird. He should grow a beard too at this point. I don't know, man. It just gets to a point when your face starts looking like that, you should probably put some facial hair over it a little bit. It's like the old man's shield against aging is the facial hair, I think.
Everybody's already been through this world. Why didn't they just rescue Daisy? The game makes no sense. If the player can beat his time in each level within a hub, they'll earn a new outfit for Donald. I guess it's like a cosmetic thing, which, you know, would be nice if you unlocked something like some kind of mini game. That would be better, I think. But the colorful graphics faithfully represent cartoon characters on which they are based. The music is peppy but somewhat forgettable. Though visually appealing, the levels are incredibly straightforward, with little emphasis on exploration or finding alternative paths. Aside from the ubiquitous stars, there are just a handful of collectible items. Fans of Donald Duck and other characters from the Disney comics and animated series that feature him.
Bro, there's no way. Is this the whole thing? I'm like scanning through it very quickly. Okay, maybe the controller thing, I guess. Is that the 8-bit dough?
1999, so I want to get some of those. And they come in all different colors, so I am actually going to try to get one. I don't think I've ever, or maybe I did, but I don't think I've ever owned one of those ones, so I want to get one because they look better. Although the plus pad looks like it's in the bottom middle, I wonder how that would be. I don't know, I'd have to try it, but it looks like it might be good. Oh my god, look at this one. Also, so this is under hardware and accessories section. The glove, kind of like the power glove.
Kind of like watching him in this video makes me wonder how much younger Erin is than him. She looks like she's like 15 years younger than he is.
But this is for N64. The glove is a wearable peripheral marketed as the best way to control gameplay and another step towards VR gaming. Basically, they're trying to still do the power glove. The glove has an ergonomic design with the standard buttons and controls of the Nintendo 64 controller rearranged to fit comfortably in the right hand while it's strapped to the right forearm. Also offers...
Dude, this is not good. This is not good content. I'm sorry. Oh, the N64 DD. Have you seen Metal Jesus' episode on that? That has like 5 billion views. I'm sure you know what that is. This is a horrible choice, chat. Do you guys even know what you like? She's only 37. She looks... Wait, only... I mean, she is 37. She looks way younger than 37. She's the same age as me. If it wasn't for me making fun of her boyfriend, maybe I would have had a chance. JK. I ain't got that 10-inch schlong that she's looking for. It'd be fucking hilarious if Mike had a micro penis this whole time. Dude, this is me scanning through the whole 33 minutes of this video. My God. I knew this was going to be a boring video. J-Rob, $5 if you're looking for extra content for Fridays after the video game years. Chris Boers also did a history of video games. I'm not watching that. I think the most I can do at this point is do maybe the AVGN outtakes. I just don't really want to watch the Kyle Justin AVGN one. Like I said, I did a whole ass... Oh, this Pat the NES Punk one. Where he does the Amico Christmas. We got to watch this one. Pat looks so weird in this video. Yeah, I want to watch this one. His Amico and Television Christmas one where he claps back at all the quote unquote haters or whatever. I watched the outtakes video today and yeah, it was like really awkward. It was just awkward, man. Like, I don't know. It was sad to see overall in general. As soon as I saw that episode, I was like, yeah, I gotta make a video on this. This is just not right. There's something weird going on with this guy. And then I learned what it was. And that's all I said. All right. We're keeping with some Pat stuff here. Oh,
I'm not in the best mood this holiday season. Money has been tight, and I've made some bad decisions. But I still hope I can do a nice review for you all. Hello?
Patrick, don't be late for Christmas dinner this year. I'm counting on you for the Struffoli. You gotta come through.
Bad news, Frank. I don't think I can afford it this year. It's about $180 to have it shipped from an authentic Italian bakery back east. And I blew money.
yeah, but aren't those Christmas lights on top of his head fun? Not only are they fun, they're hilarious. He's got Christmas lights on his head, dude. That's so fucking funny. That's hilarious, dude. I don't know. This is a fun video so far.
Money on a sealed Mario 64, and then I just made an even worse decision. I invested in a bad tech product.
2 years in a row without Struffoli? What's going on with you? What dumb thing did you invest in?
In television.
You invested in television? What's wrong with you? TVs have been around since before I was born. I got a really cheap one at Best Buy for $200, and they threw in a VCR.
Not in television, in television. You know what, Frank? Just forget it.
Always dropping the ball on.
You know what's funny is like Pat looks like Frank now. This video came out like 3 years ago, but Pat looks like this currently. Also, I hate the word Struffoli. So it's like some Italian dessert. I do not like this word.
Struffoli, you stink. That kid is so dumb when it comes to technology. Oh, that reminds me. I gotta set my VCR for the Ancient Alien holiday special.
How could I have blown all that money on a failed investment? I'm smarter than that, right? I know things. Well, there's a long story here. It all started back when I discovered a new game console idea. The Intellivision Amico. Initially, I was skeptical of a new console based upon one that was forgotten 40 years ago. I was also concerned that the CEO of this company trying to launch this game console, Tommy Tallarico, did not have the proper business experience necessary to develop and launch a viable video game console. I put out a video voicing my concerns. Guys, I have to tell you.
All right, dude. Can you tell me what brand of crack or illicit drug was Pat on for this? Why is his head 10 times bigger than his body, and why is he moving around like he just look? It's so fucking like embarrassing. What is this fucking video?
I don't quite see the Intellivision Amico working out. It was never as popular as Atari.
What is he doing right now, dude? What? Let's just like, what is this? What am I looking at, dude? Big head mode. For real. What is this? What is he doing?
And, you know, it's just not...
What is he doing? Like some weird, like wannabe Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm shit? This is so bad. But this is more entertaining, though.
Something I see being successful. But boy, Intellivision Amico fans were not happy with that video.
The NES punk. Enough is enough.
Okay, so I was interviewed on that guy's show a long time ago because he liked my band. He wanted to like talk about my band. So I was on that. I forget his fucking name. He interviewed me once and then like. I just never heard from him again, but it's on my collab. I have a tab on my YouTube channel, collabs I've done with people. It's on there. I guess he got into. I guess this guy was an Amico fanboy or Tommy Tallarico. I don't know what that they were like. I don't know. Anyway.
Enough with this Amico hate. Don't just be a hater.
I was criticized.
Pat the NES punk.
The hate that you are pouring onto the Intellivision Amico is crazy. You have not proven yourself in the world of business in the same way that Tommy Tallarico has. Just look at net worth for a start.
People like Pat the NES Punk have an axe to grind with Tommy Tallarico. I mean, have you seen his videos? Tommy Tallarico has more money than Pat. He has a mansion. Tommy Tallarico, who's up living the fat life.
I was attacked.
All right, so what's your hottest of hot takes there, Cupcake?
He picked like the biggest dildos to like, I don't know, but the mask dude was fine when I went on his YouTube thing. He was fine. The other people he showed, just like the first or the second guy seemed stoned out of his fucking mind, and then the second guy's, oh, what's your hot take, Cupcake? He's just like a troll, so I don't know. I think he picked the easiest targets to like make look stupid.
Don't quite see the Intellivision.
Oh, I said make look stupid too soon. Now it's back to Pat again.
Amico working out. It was never as popular as Atari, and
what is he doing though? How, in what world is that funny or entertaining or oh my god, that's hilarious how he's acting like some, like, I don't know, dude from the Catskills who's having a heart attack or something. A lot of Jewish people hang out in the Catskills, so I heard. I don't know. It's kind of a, I'm the Nebuchadnezzar Jewish stereotype. Larry David, what's going on? Like, what is that? Besides terminally cringe and unfunny.
Learn to speak, dude.
Now, I know a lot about retro games, but
learn to talk. Learn to speak already.
You know, I just don't see it selling well today. In fact, I probably don't see them selling anything close to 1 million units. I just don't see it happening.
I will pay you $200, Pat, if the Intellivision Amico does not sell over 1 million copies within its first year. And I've done some research on this, and it's going to be a close call.
I was even called a fraud by a very honest, totally secure, and confident man.
You kind of exposed yourself as a fraud. Tommy had Guinness Book of World Record plaques just sitting on the ground of his house because he didn't have room to put them up. The way you're...
I think the problem with this video is there's zero likable people here, except maybe Frank, but even Frank reading Pat's lines that Pat wrote for him to say makes Frank also seem a little on the cringy side, but that's not Frank's fault. But he got caught up in the crossfire. Yeah, there's not a single likable person in this entire video.
Approaching this is beyond childish, and that is disgusting.
Was it possible I was wrong? So I started doing my own research, and I watched some great quality Amico videos from bright individuals. And it really started to tell a different story of a brilliant video game console idea.
I think Intellivision Amico is going to shock people. I think people are way underestimating Tommy, and I think that is going to shock people, how good it is.
But then something crazy happened. Tommy Tallarico, the CEO of Intellivision and a veritable video game industry icon, contacted me, little old me, and said he wanted to hang out and share some insider info with me. He even picked me up in his sports car. Wow, maybe Tommy really is living that fat life. Someone picking me up in their car must mean they think I'm important and I'm special. Thanks for driving me, Tommy. You have such a great car. Having a car like this must mean you know how to run a video game company. Wow, I'm in a sports car. I can't be having critical thoughts right now. Does this mean we're friends now, Tommy? Then I got to tour the Intellivision offices, and I felt like a big boy. I even met Nick, the CFO. Later, we did an interview, and I fell in love with the Intellivision Amico concept.
Intellivision Amico is a brand new video game console where...
Look at Pat's goofy, crazy facial expressions. He's such a great actor, dude. He's such a great comedic actor. Holy fuck. So entertaining when Pat does that. It's like cringy dad humor. Like, I don't know, if you had an embarrassing dad and you like miss that energy, like if you don't still live with them or whatever, like, you know, you can kind of get that from Pat. those same vibes.
All we care about is simple, fun to play, pick up and play games for the entire family. We want to bring video gaming back into the living room.
People playing video games together in the same room?
Oh my God, look at all those faces he's making, dude. That's, Jesus Christ. Like, you know, Robin Williams is in the discussion. Where's Pat at? You know what I mean? As far as like just comedic actors doing like comedic roles. I don't like, why is Pat not in the conversation, dude? Like, he's pretty much like, right. He understands comedy. He understands comedic timing. I don't understand why he's not in the conversation.
Genius. Tommy, since we're now officially friends, I went and I bought us 2 tickets to Disney on Ice. Will you tell everyone right now who's watching that you'll go with me?
No, I wouldn't say that publicly, no.
Could you at least pick me up in your Ferrari? We can go out for a pizza on me. You know, we're both East Coast Italians, paisans.
Well, that's a silly question.
So I ended up going to Disney on Ice alone. But then a great idea hit me. There's money to be made. I could invest in the Intellivision Amico. This is a disruptor. I could get in early. I mean, a lot of YouTubers were saying the Amico was a great idea, and YouTubers are never wrong about this stuff.
This console looks really cool.
It's drawing me even closer to really wanting to buy the system when it gets released.
There is steak with that sizzle, I'm here to tell you.
It is absolutely freaking awesome, guys.
They have a
Oh, he just included John Riggs in the video. He just burnt his Metal Jesus bridge just then.
team of amazing people behind the console.
Just having Tommy behind the Intellivision Amico gives me a lot of confidence in it. So I'm really excited about the Intellivision Amico.
And I think the Amico's going to be a hit.
And I think they're going to make a lot of people interested in the system.
Oh, RGT85, my favorite. My favorite.
It's going to become the best-selling console of all time.
People will line up to buy it.
Sign me the heck up.
The Amico, I believe, it's going to be amazing.
Intellivision's there, and it's going to get popular because of that reason, because everyone's going to say, you know, F the man, dude, check out Amico.
So sexy. Getting so pumped up for this, guys.
It's going to blow their minds. This thing is going to sell like gangbusters. I'm excited. I am on Team Amico.
It's like, it's such a cool idea, right?
But I was still on the fence. But do you know what settled it? Remember that nice guy who called me a fraud? Turns out that he invested $10,000 in the Amico, and he's a straight shooter and super smart and stable. The guy even sold the shirt off his back to afford the investment. That's dedication.
This should prove all those haters wrong. I love this thing. I put $10,000 cash into the project.
So I thought maybe I should put in my money too. So I set up a meeting with Nick, the Intellivision CFO, to ask him some final questions before...
Oh, is Pat gonna make some more funny faces? Oh, I sure hope he does. Boy, oh boy.
For giving over my money.
We are operating in a very niche market at the moment. It will probably, over the next, couple of years, have very little impact on everything else going on in the gaming industry. So
I'm a bit more optimistic. I think selling Amicos will be as easy as shooting prairie dogs in a barrel.
People can have an opinion that this thing is stupid and sucks. That's fine. But don't try to censor other people who have their opinions. It's just not cool, and I just hope that we don't see more of that.
I certainly agree with that, Nick. We should all be open to criticism and others' opinions. By the way, does that door behind you say Amico Hater Dungeon?
It's crazy.
But for some reason, I still wasn't comfortable investing. But I felt crazy because these were some good and honest people. You had Nick, you had Tommy, and what about what all those smart and trustworthy YouTubers were saying?
I am biased. I hope this system succeeds. Perhaps I'm a bit of a shill, but I proudly wear that as I do this shirt.
I researched the Amico. I went to meet Tommy and the team multiple
I can smell this video clip right here, and I don't like it.
times. I've played this hands-on multiple times.
So I finally invested some serious cash. But soon after, things started to unravel. First, the Amico was delayed not once, but twice. And then, even stranger things started to happen.
First, Tommy tried to show the console powering on, but it took nearly a full minute to boot up to the menu screen. In another video, Tommy, again he's the CEO, used a controller with inverted controls, but then claimed it was purposely done to fool a couple of dumb podcasters. I mean, who cares about loser podcasters? But in reality, Tommy did it to try and hide awful controller lag. Then there was a disastrous E3 presentation video featuring Tommy bragging about his past accomplishments, stock photos with photoshopped Amico controllers, and games featured included free web browser games, free mobile games, and demos for games that probably hadn't been worked on in a long time. Soon after, Tommy threatened a journalist with a lawsuit on Twitter for reporting about the console and saying it was similar in specs to a 2016 Android phone. But the journalist legally obtained that information from Intellivision's developer portal website, which was available via a Google search. And then Intellivision released a gameplay reveal video for Battle Tanks, or Tank Battle, but the game was using stolen art and pictures. When they were called out on it, Intellivision claimed it was placeholder graphics and re-uploaded the same video 3 times in order to hide the stolen assets. Intellivision also held a few demo events open to the public, but these sketchy events were not usually advertised more than a day or two before they happened. Worse, these events were used to create videos to attract investors. They featured fanboys of the CEO wearing Amico shirts and allegedly included testimonials from several actors and investors, and it was never disclosed, something that is not ethical and certainly not legal. But then it somehow got even worse. Intellivision started selling physical games. I mean physical products, their words, for a console that no longer had a realistic release date. These products consisted of cheap RFID hotel-type keycards, and it was claimed that the games activated by them were NFTs, which there was no proof of, but whatever, small detail. Each game box included a lenticular card and a cheap coin. Again, Intellivision sold these physical products, knowing that the console to access and play the games from them might never be released. A scummy, scammy move, but dummies still bought them.
Can you believe these? I should probably point out that it's not clear if each of these 8 physical product games was ever finished. Well, we know 2 probably were. You see, Finnegan Fox is a reskin of a 2018 game called Fox and Forest, and Evel Knievel was a 2016 mobile game that was free. I should probably also mention that they forced you to buy these in packs of 4 for $80 each. But wait, it gets worse.
In a desperate attempt to...
I think when... So Tommy Tallarico did an interview with Review Tech USA forever ago. I think it was like 2018 when he was first like shilling this, and Rich was like hook, line, and sinker. He was like all in on it. And I remember like hearing about it, and I was like kind of intrigued, but then as it started, you know, going along, and you know, it basically was looking like, okay, this is just one of those was it those stupid little joysticks you can buy from the drugstore, you know? It's like, it's a glorified version of that. Because, like, at first he was like, oh, these are going to be exclusive 2D games. You know, I like 2D games. They're going to be, like, I think, like $10 each, he said, or 20 something at most. They're going to be incredibly cheap, affordable, whatever you want to call it. But, yeah, as time went on, I mean, in like I said, the only, like, W, like, the CU podcast, Pat, or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, ever got was like, yeah, they called this shit way before anybody else did. And I mean, I didn't really care one way or the other. I just, whether it came out or it didn't come out, I just decided like, I'm not gonna get one of these things. It just seems like some cheap kind of like, I mean, dude, for Microsoft to even like elbow their way into the marketplace to become like a third viable option, they had to spend like millions upon which Microsoft had to spend Bill Gates money. They had that money to spend to, you know, strong arm their way into the video game market to have a third viable console outside of Sony and Nintendo, because Sega was already long dead at that point. And So yeah, and I know he wasn't. They weren't trying to make this like a fourth kind of thing. They were trying to make it like a lower tier. But yeah, at the end of the day, they couldn't even do what was At Games that published those crappy Sega clones and those crappy like whatever the hell. They couldn't even do that. They couldn't even like bring any physical product to market, and it kind of became obvious way before. Tommy just disappeared into the ether. I was like, oh, well, where'd he go? Where'd the console go? Where'd everything go? But yeah, it was weird. It was kind of like a little cult, man. The people who were like so into this, and they got personally offended when you like said anything like negative about it. I think they like asked me in passing during that one interview I did with the mask guy, something madness. I forget the name of the channel, but they asked me my opinion. I was like, oh, I think it's like a kind of a crappy idea at this point. I don't think it's ever gonna, even come to market. And that was not the answer they wanted to hear. But I think they're still trying to be polite, so they didn't say anything to me about it or whatever. But I could kind of tell by like how it like sucked the air out of the room when I said that. Then I was like, oh, that's not the answer they wanted to hear. They wanted me to like be like, oh yeah, I'm all about the Amico, blah blah blah. Yeah, it was an interesting time.
To get fresh investors to keep their company surviving, since it was bleeding cash, Intellivision released a sham console unboxing video where they pretended to open a retail Amico console box, but it was obviously a mocked-up one-off with a handmade prototype system inside. In the video, you can see the engineer going through their circa 1999 menu. Whoa, different language options. Keen. There were other weird things, like a misspelling on the quick start guide. That's probably not a big deal though. They just misspelled the word Intellivision, the name of their company. At this point, it's safe to say that the Amico is dead, and Intellivision was dishonest about how far along the console development was, deceptive to investors and the public about who was still working with the company, deceitful about the console release dates and the reasons for the delays, dishonest about some of the games being worked on for the console, and more. Huge amounts of money have been wasted due to bad decisions and incompetence. Most of the employees have been laid off, and the Intellivision offices are now closed, with Tommy being personally sued for over $100,000 due to defaulting on payments for the office furniture. Meanwhile, customers that pre-ordered the console are screwed, while investors seeking answers have been stonewalled. I told you that long and sad story to better explain how monumentally bad my investment was, and why I can't afford Strufoli this year. But I gotta take my mind off it, so let's review a holiday NES game. A totally random one. Let's look at Snow Brothers. Snow Brothers, originally in 1990.
Okay, don't care about that portion of it. Whatever, I'm sure he's tying it into his review. Or his whatever the fuck this is. And I told you so video.
There are also a couple of bonus jars, including one that fills the snowman with air and allows him to float around the level to take out foes. You know who should be floating around because they're filled with hot air? All those YouTubers who gassed up the Amico.
Unabashed, A+, great Amico.
That's Brett Weiss, by the way. That was the guy that Pat rewrote the his first edition Ultimate Guide to the NES book, because he just hated Brett Weiss's writing so very much that he had to do a second edition where he took all of his writings out, and then Brett Weiss had his own clapback. And so, of course, Brett Weiss is going to be on the chopping block, which Brett Weiss in his own right has like his own fans and his own stands and all that. And I'm not involved in any of this shit. I don't know or care much about it, but it is kind of entertaining, just for drama's sake.
Awesome.
Holy God, that looks amazing!
Really freaking amazing.
This is something we haven't seen in decades.
My mind was literally blown when I saw it.
Have you seen this game? I've never seen a game like this on a phone.
It was one of the coolest days of my professional gaming career.
This is the Wii 15 years later, and it's gonna kill.
Super slick.
My jaw's hitting the ground seeing how cool this game is.
I had a smile just slapped on my face.
I've never seen anything or experienced anything quite like this.
I think the Amico is going to be a big success.
It's going to be big. gonna be real big.
I have zero doubts about when this thing launches that it is going to be a hit, and I truly mean that.
Hey, that guy bought another shirt. Good for him.
And back to Snow Brothers. Power-ups are welcome since it...
No, I don't care about you tying it into NES game review. Fuck all that.
That's how I felt when I ended up in those giant Amico fan chats trying to track down Tommy to get information on when the console was going to be released and where my money was.
Tommy and the Intellivision team has made sure the people that will be investing in this product and this system, you're not going to be left behind.
Oh, Saggy Melons. Yeah, she was there when I did that interview with the she's part of the crew with that guy who wears the mask or whatever. I remember her. Yeah, she was an interesting character.
Like some vaporware consoles.
Tommy, there you are, Tommy. You've been dodging me. Where have you been? Where's my money? Please, Tommy, answer me.
Everybody, man.
I had to sell my shirt to afford groceries. Tommy, please.
To be honest, it wasn't a concern for me on this console.
I still don't know what a saggy melon is.
Snow Brothers could seem like it would get boring, but at every 10th stage you face a boss battle, which just consists of packing snowballs from enemies or objects that the bosses eject and then throwing...
Yeah, I remember her bragging about knowing Rich and talking to Rich or whatever, or maybe not bragging, maybe she was just saying it back when I did that interview forever ago, and I was like, wow, you know Rich from Review Tech USA? Well, flash forward to now. I was like on his live chat and I was like, hey, you want to come on my YouTube channel? He's like, yeah, blah, blah, email me. And then kind of thought about it and I was like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe that wouldn't be the best idea right now.
The balls at them. I said balls. Well, I said balls a bunch of times already. Oh, I said it again. Balls. After defeating these monsters, the player can earn bonus points and extra lives with a slot machine mini game.
All right, I'm gonna keep you edging. Gotta pee again. Oh my God.
Playing slots is like gambling. Just like how I gambled when I invested in a scammy game console idea. What was I thinking? Listening to those weirdos with their insider info.
I never told you to invest in Republico. I never told you to invest in Start Engine. I never told you to pre-order a console if you didn't think it was going to make it. I don't think so, son.
It was more like us talking about how much what we were doing, but and how much we liked it.
What?
But it wasn't like we held people to the fire and told anyone to do anything.
That's not how I remember it.
We've got less than a day. You can do an investment into Amico. Why not? It's gonna pay back. You know, it's gonna be. Why wouldn't you do that? It's just. It's a no-brainer.
But seriously, who wears wristbands like that still? Well, I mean, I used to, but once I got to my late 30s, I figured I'd stop, or else my family would institutionalize me.
Playing quickly while with discipline will lead to success in Snow Brothers. The layouts of the floors evolve a little bit as you progress, but it's just about the same strategy all the way through. If you make it to floor 50, you'll face dual gargoyle heads constantly spewing power-ups and other garbage at you.
Spewing garbage?
Just like Tommy when I finally tracked him down for a follow-up interview, thinking he would put my investing fears to rest.
And they're all hardcore elitists. Not hardcore gamers like our system too, but these elitists, they're racist. They're literally gaming racists.
I love that line.
Whoa, Tommy, you can't just say something like gaming racist and expect the interviewer to sit silently back and just accept it. I would be talentless and irresponsible if I did that. I don't think you even know what the words literally and racist actually mean when you just use them like that. Well, I don't know, Tommy. This is already off the rails. Is this going to get any worse?
Yeah. We're having fun here. Give me a break.
Okay, Tommy. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, I guess.
I'm on Twitter too. I like to mix it up. I'm not afraid to smack down some hater elites.
What? Hater elites? You can't be acting like that. You're the CEO of a company. You're entrusted with millions and millions of dollars. And you manage a bunch of workers and employees. Hey, what's going on here?
So that's the thing. Look, if you're into games with blood and violence and sexual content and kids in sexual compromising positions and rape on the Nintendo, if that's what you want, then buy a Switch.
Okay.
Wait a second, Tommy. You can't just say things like that. What type of worthless hack would I be if you said things like that and I didn't respond and push back? You can't just say slanderous things like that and hope to get away with it. No. Nintendo, I didn't say those things. I didn't say them. It was Tommy Tallarico. He's the one that said them, not me.
Hey, let's face it, Pat. You know damn well, both me and you, if we had the opportunity to get a lap dance from The Little Mermaid, we'd be all over it. True or false?
False! What? False! It's false! What type of garbage human being, what sort of sack of shit would agree with that? The Little Mermaid is an underage children's character from Disney. I mean, what the hell? What's going on with this interview? I thought we were discussing a game console aimed at families, and now we're talking about getting lap dances by Disney characters. I can't go on with this interview. I think I have to end it before someone sues me.
Wouldn't that be something?
I don't think that interview helped. Snow Brothers is all right. The arcade gameplay mechanics are a little unique, and it moves at a quick pace.
Stupid NES
the graphics are
review.
pretty good, and the soundtrack consists of upbeat ditties that bop. There's no real depth, but it's an above-average experience for those looking for brisk arcade gaming. And the two-player simultaneous action is a good time, if you can find another Snow Prince to play with. That does it for Snow Brothers. Well, I'm glad I could distract myself and you from the Amico debacle for at least a few minutes. All thanks to those lovable snowmen, Nick and Tom. Nick and Tom. Nick and Tom. Tom and Nick? Nick and Tom. Nick and Tom. Tom and Nick.
Excuse me. Good God. Got them old man
What you are
sneezes.
trying to do, Pat, is dictate the narrative on the Intellivision Amico.
Learn to speak, dude.
You kind of exposed yourself as a fraud, and that is disgusting.
And your obsession, absolute obsession with your anti-Amico crusade.
So Pat doesn't understand what it takes to be successful.
Just look at net worth for a start.
Tommy Tallarico, who's up living the fat life.
Look, I don't know you people. I know a couple of you people, and you're garbage fucking human beings, and you fucking know it.
It's crazy.
Is that one of those blue Yeti mics? Oh my God, that is some vintage YouTube mic configurations right there. Good Lord.
If you're gonna call me a shill, know what you're talking about.
I'm looking at the definition of shill, an accomplice of a swindler who acts as an enthusiastic customer to entice or encourage others.
It's a real thing that will be coming out. Just because it's delayed doesn't mean it doesn't exist and won't happen.
So whether you love it or not, it's gonna be a success.
I am biased, I'll admit. Am I a shill? Maybe.
I'm a shill.
They're saying all these games are repackaged mobile games. Who would buy them? okay.
My jaw's hitting the ground.
Do not buy the Intellivision Amico.
I am biased. I hope this system succeeds. Perhaps I'm a bit of a shill, but I proudly wear that as I do this shirt.
I've been a winner in this industry my whole career. I don't lose.
Tommy said it's fully refundable, it's a $100 pre-order, and if you don't want it, you can get your money back.
We have the system and the hardware completed.
You can do an investment into Amico. Why not? It's gonna pay back, you know? It's gonna be, why wouldn't you do that? It's just, it's a no-brainer.
Tommy's investors.
That DJ Sega, whoever the fuck that guy is, like the worst of them all so far. My God, he's why wouldn't you invest?
Will be extremely pleased. That I promise you.
The rocket ship is built, folks, and we are on the launch pad headed for the stars. We just need a little more fuel to get there.
Amico!
And then it's like Pat's no better. Yeah, you were right about the Amico thing, but you just did it in such a fucking... I mean, yeah, there's some things that you presented that were like, okay, fine. But that, like, anytime you try to act or be funny, you just kind of ruin, like, any momentum you had going as well, because, like, you're just as embarrassing as these other people are, even though you ended up being right. Like, you weren't even doing, like, a good victory lap. You had to make it as cringe as possible and make me, like, root against you as well. Like, zero unlikable people, or zero likable people in this whole fucking video.
Oh, what have I done? I listened to grifting Intellivision execs and airhead YouTubers, and now I have no money. I can't afford Strufoli, and Frank hates me. If only there was a way I can come up with $180 and save Christmas. But there isn't a way. Or is there?
I will pay you $200, Pat, if the Intellivision Amico does not sell over 1 million copies within its first year. And I've done some research on this, and it's going to be a close call.
Yes, it's a miracle. Christmas is saved thanks to someone even dumber than me.
Wow, I didn't know one of the wise men was an alien. Makes sense, maybe.
Merry Christmas, Frank! I got the Strufoli!
Patrick, you finally came through. You didn't drop the ball.
There it is!
All right, yeah, we got the Strufoli.
We got it!
Yeah, give me a break from this shit. You've been playing any games lately, Josh? Just finished probably my second or third playthrough of Far Cry 6. Now I'm still chipping. I'm back at chipping away at, what was it? Claire Obscura's fucking Adventure 33.5. You know this game. It was a game of the year 2 years ago or something like that. It was sent to me a long time ago by one of my viewers. I've been chipping away at that one. Expedition. There you go. Expedition 33. Yeah, that one's pretty fun. I don't love RPGs, but this is pretty fun, pretty good. It looks great, you know. Feel like it's one that I will maybe perhaps get into the more I play it. I normally don't play RPGs. Rocket propelled grenades. Yeah, I normally don't play those.
Oh! Frank, why did you punch me?
I belted you because you invested in television, you bum.
Okay, that makes sense.
Come on, quit your belly aching. It's almost time for antipasta. Come on, walk it off.
Merry Christmas, Frank. You asshole.
Are you gonna stay on the floor till New Year's Eve or what?
For Strufoli and Italian pastries, check out Circo's Pastry Shop. Circo's, since 1945.
Okay, everybody, Merry Christmas.
All right, anyway. All right. That's enough. That's enough of all this shit. I put my time in. This has been your Friday stream. Thank you for watching. This is your aftercare. This is all you're getting. Till next time. Bye.